So we can.
We're live.
Nice. Thanks, Hokage, as always.
Welcome.
We can definitely start with some Big Bird porn since Big Bird's here. And since Late Show asked, we're Beef and I are both pretty excited about moving up the Elite War rankings. We're up to 13 in 785, and that's awesome. And the the first thing that I would definitely say we're focusing on in 785 is we are not wasting our money on Nation Duel and Duel of Dominance because we're pretty focused on Elite War. So for those of you that love Elite, I'm happy to talk about that. If you that just want general advice, stop spending your money on DoD and Nation Duel. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. Sounds like you guys are doing well as well.
What's been
Bro,
the thing that you've noticed? What are the shifts that you've noticed as you've climbed up the ranks? As you've hit top 30, top 20, now in the top 15, sitting in the 13th spot. What are some shifts that you've noticed climbing the ranks like that? And, what are some things you and your team have done to adapt to those for folks who are looking to make a run like you guys have?
so the first thing that surprised me was moving from 100 to 50 is not hard at all if you have the right team. And then it starts to almost get like exponentially harder. So getting from 50 to 40 was rough. And then it felt like getting from 40 to 30 took forever. And then I was kind of expecting it to take a while. So getting down to 20 took even longer, but then you start to get challenged then. And so I think it was a matter of like, you really can't you can't really know it until you feel it until at first it starts getting a lot harder than it used to be, and you're like, oh, now I see what people are talking about with Elite War. And then when people start challenging you, so like 910 challenged us and spanked us pre-merge, and we had to get more serious and adjust our strategy. So a little bit of all of that. It's not a linear progression of power, it's more of an exponential progression, and somebody's going to whoop your ass and make you revisit your strategy. That's the thing I noticed the most.
Good evening, good evening. So let me talk about the getting your ass whooped real quick, because that's always the best lesson in my opinion, right? So I think we've talked about that just a little bit before. But let's just talk about the Elite War with 910. Like what happened with that? Like how long did it take? Was it quick? Was it fast? Was it 45 minutes? Was it they overwhelmed you? Like what was the deal there?
It was 45 minutes. It was a million gold. It went down to the end. It could have gone either way. I think maybe they would say they had it for sure, which is fine. We just weren't organized enough. And, we got a good merge, right? So we had been kind of overpowering people without enough strategy. We had a strategy. It's not like it was just, spend and go. But the strategy we had wasn't good enough. And so we had to devise more strategy, which is nothing to do with making up your own shit and 100% to do with me asking you, LG, for help and Big Bird for help and people who have been there and done that. So I don't know that you can. Well, I'm sure there's maybe a genius who can find their way up to the top without help, but get your ass beat, spend a million gold, figure out that that's fucking stupid, and
Dude,
then
yes. The million gold Elite Wars that you lose, man, those hurt, dude. Those sting a little for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll
yeah,
think about that 6 months later, and it'll sting then.
yeah, we're 25-1 in the last 26 battles, and that one is the most memorable.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
you got to learn, right?
Yeah, I agree. But 910 is going to be super sweaty here once they get organized and things of that nature. I'm really excited to see what those guys are able to put together here in the course of the next few months. Um, you know, I feel like they're just gonna go balls to the wall on 904, but I could be completely wrong there. But here nor there, they just got a pretty decent merge. And they're likely going to do the very similar trend to what you got, just fly up the ranks. especially if they're going to start taking a couple of the top 10 to Pound Town. You know, I think that the PHX that you guys had today with the quick burn, that was sick, man. That was good for you guys because it sure as shit could have cost you 1,000,000 gold if you didn't pull that move off. You know.
Yeah, you told us that would be our toughest challenge. So I mean, I had like 2 double espressos before that match, and then it was done in 2 minutes, and I had all that energy and nothing to do. I was a little bit lost.
Yeah, it's
Um,
amazing.
but it was tough, man. You know, we beat POW, we beat some 904. So we beat 3 top 10 nations now on the climb.
And that's good for the points, right? That's real nice for the points.
It was like 450 points today or something crazy. It was great. I mean, all these guys are good. There's no disrespect at all. LG, I think actually something interesting that you may want to tell people as they're making the climb is like when you get towards the top, you don't just go challenge somebody. I don't know how you guys necessarily talk and plan a top matchup, but I've definitely noticed some people just like, oh, it would be fun to fight, and then they challenge blindly, and then that can lead to some petty challenges back.
I mean, look, when you get to the certain tops, and I've said this like a lot, call it the top 25 even, you'd like to think that there's just a little bit of, admirability, I think is the word, a little bit of respect, a little bit of, all those things. I would just like to think, especially in say the top, five, I would think would be the tip of that TP, if you know what I'm talking about. So, I maybe the guys from 20 to 10 or something, they just kind of tinker around, they do what have you. But if you get involved with if you just blindly, in my opinion, I don't want to speak for like a nation like 219, but I feel like if you just blindly, challenge a nation like that, not only could you, potentially lose, but if you do lose, you now become their bitch, and just because you wanted to randomly challenge, you can almost guarantee you're going to get a follow-up challenge back, and then another one the week after, and then maybe a 286 quick challenge on a Wednesday morning before brunch, like all those stupid things. So, I don't think that necessarily matters too much in some of the top ranks. Maybe you get a couple of guys who think they're king dingling before they're king dingling, type deal. But I think in a general way, I think the people, especially in the top five, like I'm part of the top five. Like we work fucking hard to get there, That's why I kind of got a little beef with 286. Just want to blind random challenge me. Okay, that's fine, But I kind of
that's
get it.
that's
Maybe they were.
WBG. Is that WBG?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was our last loss. They caught us on a quick challenge on a Wednesday morning, and got us slipping. I don't know what else to say other than that. But that was 600 points of loss. You know what I'm saying? Closed the gap between us and 567, real big.
I was looking today for our matchup, and I was literally thinking about you and this discussion because I had a choice between POW and those guys. And I was like, I think we can probably beat those guys. But I know if we do, they're going to come at us real quick, like they did with you, like the no warning thing. So I picked POW.
I mean, I feel like they're gonna do it anyway. They just like to do it, especially to the new people. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's because I challenged them a couple of times along the way, But they were top 10, and I feel like that's comparable. If you're below me, I should be able to challenge you without there being an issue. But but hey, they got me back, so I got to respect it. I got nothing but respect for 286. But it doesn't mean I wouldn't want to, monkey stomp them a couple of times. But I don't think it's worth it. I can 100% tell you, I could probably take a screenshot of my leadership in my Discord where it essentially says, my Elite War guy, Johnny Coyle, shout out Johnny Coyle, my R4, who does a lot of my wartime battles commanding. He's like, I want to go after a 286 a couple of times because we've made a couple of changes over in 425. And I literally responded to him and I was like, listen, they got us for that 600. Let them get that, bro. Hopefully it'll keep them out of our lives for the rest of our lives, if you know what I mean. Let them get that 600 points because it'll literally take us 10 challenges to get it back. you know. And what's that worth to us? It's 100% not worth it.
That's
So
what I
I
thought
send,
today. That's what I thought today. Don't poke the bear, right? Like I
yeah,
feel like
dude.
that would be the motto. Don't poke the bear.
But the other side to that coin is I'm 85% certain that Ronaldo is going to be on the next set of whatever merge list is out there, you know. So he's coming for his, you know, just everybody should know that, you know. Everybody who tries to farm Ronaldo, the moment he gets his little merger here in the coming months, I'm assuming, you know, he's gonna try to farm you back. Just know that, you know. I got my defenses up, just on the lookout for it, you know, because I've been fucking around with Ronaldo for a little while now, you know.
But
And I even
that
said,
top
I said it
10,
earlier. I said it earlier. Mess around with the Chinese, man. You know, like
yeah,
they're in a different game than us. You know,
that's definitely
with
true.
all
But that top 10 is in a weird state right now. I don't know if you
oh,
saw, but Genghis said he's not spending in 904. So I'm sure people are going to try to farm 904. And actually, Big Bird, this
I,
is
I
also
mean,
an
nine
answer
ten was gonna farm them anyway. I would almost put
for sure.
money on it. I would
Yeah, for
almost
sure.
put money on it. They were gonna get 3 challenges at least.
But Big Bird was saying like, what did we learn on the way up? And this would be the other big thing is like, just don't even challenge your friends. The game is just there's too much disrespect. You can't even really have a respectful fight. I mean, we do have
There's
a
just no positive from it. You know,
right.
like Bodizi and I were talking about this a couple weeks back because Tip reached out at the last podcast. We talked about it a little bit, da 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 da. And you know, Bo and I were talking. I was like, listen, we got a little bit of a plan. You know, we're trying to do this and we're trying to do that. I don't mind fighting you, but like, let me get it. You know, give us a couple months. But dot dot dot. What is the fucking point? You know, like, do we really want to know? You know, does everybody want to blow 1 million gold on each team? You know, do we really want to, or do we want to, you know, try to take out 255? Like, what are we trying to do here? You know, like, what would be more fun in your opinion? You know, and that's kind of, you know, those are the things that we talked about.
Yeah, 594 was no joke. We just came
You clipped
aggressively.
them. You clipped them. Yeah, you clipped them. You caught them slipping a little bit, and you won the battles that you needed to win. I watched the video, man. Awesome work. You know,
But now
awesome work.
but now I expect the challenge back. You know what I mean? So that's what you
Oh,
always have to worry about.
it should come. I mean, I know those boys pretty well, man. I'd like to think that their leadership team thinks they got, you know, they got slicked. You know, like call it what it is. They got caught, and you know, and they weren't ready for your Mayday team. Just, you know, they weren't ready because your main team didn't even have to do anything. Mayday team clipped the whole base, the defenders, the attackers, and you guys did it all. You know, so you know, the main team just kept the other guys from retreating. You know, that's really all they could do. So yeah, I'm sure. You know, if I was PHX, I'd want to give you another go. So you know, yeah, I would be prepared for that. And I've seen your guys' Elite War schedule too, so I would properly plan for the bag if you catch my drift, because I don't think it'll be as easy if you guys go at it again.
That's the other thing that we've been focusing more on. So before that event even happened, we sent out mail and it was like, we think today is going to be the toughest over the next 48 hours. So the strongest cities are going to have to fire their Aeon for this. And then tomorrow, these specific cities can fire their Aeon. And then Polar, we're just going to basically gamble and hope for an easier round and just save Aeon. Or sorry, just Aeon for like everybody else, basically. So we're trying to optimize at that level. So that's the other thing about trying to make the climb is you can't just fire Aeon whenever you feel like it. You literally have to plan out the whole alliance's buff usage. It gets a little crazy. I'm sure
That
you guys
level
all
of
know this already.
organization is worth it, though. Like, you know, I've been in situations where we planned out Aeon usage across different rounds of the same event, you know, in a 24-hour period. And that level of organization is time consuming, but if you've got the people to do it and you've got the team that'll follow it, it can have a huge impact. Those little micro
100%.
management tricks, you know.
Especially if you're doing something that the other team's not. You know, like Big Bird
Yes.
just said, the the Aeon. I'm assuming that was like a GC trick, right? Because we do it as well.
Yeah.
You make sure that half your team pops Aeon in the first 45 minutes, and then the rest of your team pops their Aeon in the middle of the round. So you get a good portion of everybody having it, and then you have it the entire time as well. For the bigger battles if you're going the full time. So it's huge. And our first GC win, we definitely caught our opponents slipping. Against that, they lost Aeon 45 minutes in. They weren't ready, and we had Aeon, and we just pushed them out. They couldn't do anything. And I think that had a lot to do with our first GC win as a nation, personally. So yeah, those management things. Shout out Panda. She set all that up. Spreadsheet. Monster. But yeah, 100%. If you got the leadership team. I always talk about the good nations out there have great leadership, and and they're doing things like this, guys. So all you new nations out there that just merged, or you guys are listening to this for the first time, like, pay attention, listen to the past pods, because we pretty much say the same shit over and over and over again with some different cuss words. So I'll just leave it at that. You know what I'm saying?
It's the most accurate description of the podcast I've ever heard. We say the same things over and over, different cuss words.
Yeah.
All true, but it is more than just Aeon, right? Like, when you're really getting up there in the top 15, you're also talking alliance buffs. Maybe you're
yeah.
at a state buff. Like, there's a lot to it.
Dude, especially when you're going against nations that 100% have those buffs. It's just like a nation like Sin has had a state buff here, and they got a maybe a purple tower here, or a polar thing there. It's all those things that you got to consider. And the way Camel's popping up with new technologies across the game, call it. You have to look in so many more different people's pockets. It's not just a glance anymore. It's just like, okay, do they have this? Do they have that? Is this going to take a part? So yeah, it is more than that, but that's only at a real high level. And there's only like 8 of us, dude. I hope for more to join us, but there's only like, a handful, call it 10 teams out there that are high level like that, but there's 500 nations, respectfully.
Yeah, no doubt. Most people don't really care about this. I was just kind of responding to Big Bird, who was saying, like, we've made this climb. I don't know that anybody else has made this climb in the last 6 months. And so I'm happy to share my experience.
904 and 711 look like they did a very similar, like, I know 904 jumped up there doing essentially the exact same thing you guys did. Properly picking their matches, getting challenged a couple of times by the right people and whipping their asses, blah, blah, blah.
Let me be clear. I'm not pretending we're special. I specifically said 6 months because I feel like 904 has been there for a year. But I agree with you. We're not unique.
There. You guys pretty much came up, about the same time. Maybe 2-3 months before 904 came up. Just because they got the merge like right before you guys, right? Or did you guys merge at the same time? I forget.
We already have 2. They only have 1. But they definitely were dominant for a while,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they were done. I mean, I'm just giving them respect, to be honest. I'm not really trying to say we're special at all.
I mean, I
It's
love
just
those
fresh in
boys
my
over
mind.
there. I saw the same screenshot that I'm assuming that you alerted to earlier in the pod. So I saw that as well. I don't really know what's going on over there, and and hopefully the leadership team figures it out, I guess. I'd love to say that, if Genghis does not return to 904, I mean, they still have plenty of fucking whales. They should be just fine, but whatever. I don't have the answers to those questions. I just saw the screenshot. That's really all I know, and I don't have like a hand-to-hand like buddy in 904 either. Like, I know like of these guys for the most part, so like, I talk to guys in 910, like, me and Steve are buddies, like there's I just don't have that relationship. I think Tip talks to 904 guys a bunch. But I'm sure that's got a lot to do with Genghis coming to 567. So, but yeah, I think that the guys will be just fine regardless of that one particular player. Maybe they'll drop down the ranks a little bit in the grand scheme of things for like the Elite War, but they were going to do that anyway. And I say that with respect, just because of whatever happened with 910. If that was a GC thing or what, but. I just know that there's a beef, and those guys got a fresh merger, so the smoke's coming. So regardless of Genghis leaving, they were going down the ranks anyway. because they're about to get farmed. So
So I'm a
I don't
huge
think
I'm a
that.
huge fan of Safe and Bryce. I love anybody that contributes their knowledge to the community. I
Yeah,
don't have any favorites. I mean, I have one favorite, 785. Everybody else is, I appreciate all of you. 2 years ago, I never even heard 910 ever about anything. So those boys are doing serious things. I'm sure 904 will come back too. Um, it's just how the game goes, right? I swear you have to lose before you can win in this game at some point. It can start out real pretty, but it doesn't really stay real pretty the whole time. You have to lose at some point to win.
I mean, if you go way back to the way back, 255 didn't win all the time. They definitely took some L's in their lifetime, and then they tightened up and haven't looked back since. Whether that was a merger or a GC win, what I don't remember the nitty gritty details, but I do remember that they weren't always this dominant. Just using them as an example that I like to do. So there's definitely a good bit of meat to your statement there, man. We've definitely done it in 425. We went through many and many seasons of the GCs and whatever other hypothetical event not coming out as the winner for whatever reason. And now we've been a winner for quite some time. So I'm all over that, man. In life even. I feel like the guys who are really out there winning, making money, bro, they took some L's along the way. And I know that's my experience anyway. You know what I'm saying? I've taken plenty of L's along the way, but I'm about to sell a business for a lot of fucking money this coming year. So it's put your fucking motherfucking mind to it, get your ass working, then you can, get something nice. So there's definitely some pretty decent nations I've seen in this little merger pool, and just using myself as an example in 425, use that merger pool as, a little bit of a spark, to the nation, and see if you guys can't catch a nice little wave, that came in and ride that motherfucker for as long as you can, because that's what we've been doing in 425. And I've been telling you guys, watch out for 425 if we merge with the Japanese alliance over there. And, we were able to pull that off in the past couple of weeks. So, we're coming to fuck something up. We changed our alliance name, our alliance banner. We're now movement of fucked. So excuse my French. But yeah, I think that all those things come with progression. All those things come with time, and we've definitely taken some L's. If you look at our Void War record this particular year in 2026 and the latter portion of 2025, we've been losing. You know, so I'd like to think that those L's are stewing a little while for the nation and not just myself. And I'd like to think we can make some good changes and you know not only in Void War, but maybe some other avenues as well, because we've been kind of stuck at like number 4 in the Elite War ranks. So, you know, I'm waiting for the availability to challenge Sin and in Elite War for this coming Sunday. I'd like to think I can get that done, probably reset tomorrow, just because they probably don't have anything loaded right now, so I can't see them. But I'd like to think we give them a good run for their money this coming Sunday. So yeah, we're making some moves in 425 after some losses, man, to come off of your point, Holbrook. And so yeah, seize the fucking moment, man. We're going to anyways, for real.
Yeah, man. First of all, congratulations, obviously. Tip has talked before about a frenzy with 785, where when Vegas was still playing, that united his nation. I know, some players left or whatever, and then now maybe you got them all back. That's your business, not mine. But 425 looked for a minute like, oh shit, what's going on? And now 425 looks like, yeah, can I stay away, please? I don't want no drama. You know what I mean? So congratulations, bro.
Yeah, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I just feel like this is leadership, man. This is, and and I'd like to, give a shout out to Bo, because I spent 2.5 hours on Discord voice with Bo one day. Like, bro, how do I make this shit happen, bro? Like, what'd you do over there? Because Bo had such a similar situation, with after his merger, da, 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 da. Maybe it was a little bit more drama over there, right? So we had a similar situation with, some good power and some activity in our second alliance, but we never fought. Whereas I think 5, 6, 7 fought a little bit for whatever reason, but not the point I'm trying to make. So I reached out to Bo, and Bo and I chatted up for shit, man, probably a good 2.5 hours about a bunch of stuff, but this was definitely one of the main topics. And he just gave me a good marketing strategy. Just call it what it is, good pitch, and I'm a great salesman. So at the end of the day, I started asking them questions I knew that they had to answer. And, I got my old little rinky dink city that's still attached to my login. Got a C33 hanging out over there. And asked to join their alliance, and, asked who was active, jumped into a couple of their messages. And long and short of it, I kind of just called like a family meeting, and kind of asked these guys what their intentions were, what their future looks like, what 425 looks like, what it looks like if we continue. Not to say that I threaten them, but I don't like to lose, and we're a great nation, and there's no reason we should be losing to the type of nations that we were losing to, other than 286, like 286. Whatever, that's a different conversation, but you know what I'm trying to say. So I just went in there and talked, man. Tried to figure out, who's really active, and I shot a message asking, I basically said something along the lines of, "Hey guys, I see you guys have Elite War on Monday. Like I'll be here, so if we can have a meeting at that time, that'd be fucking sweet." And long story short, I got like 80 X's, like 80 replies, like for real. I got a video where I sent it to my Discord chat with my leaders, and you can scroll on that little fucker for a little while. So they got some active bodies over there, but the long and short of it, I think a lot of them are super casual, and maybe not the best led at times, especially in times of battle. So without putting, rules on them, because Bo gave me a suggestion that they had was, no alliances can fight other than us and say the number 2 alliance, which would be a different one than the Japanese, until we had like a 2 or a 3 billion lead. I think maybe 255 has something similar, if I remember correctly. Baby saying something like that. I could be wrong, but if there's somebody from 255, if you want to, say in the chat. But I 2 or 3 billion lead, then people can start to, fucking do their stupid box opening, man. This dumb traps that they know are going to get busted, and the fucking the SOSs, like they're still doing stuff like that over there. It's just just keep it real. And so I just kind of
That's
really
right.
just asked them what the fucking deal was. What the future looks like, all these things, and then I kind of just laid it all out. Like, listen, we're suffering for some activity, nothing crazy, but it's super easy to beat us if you don't have to fight us. And I said that with, like, in my opinion, a lot of respect, and I never really got agitated with them, though I felt it a couple of times. And and I kind of just left it like this. So this isn't a forever merge. This is them giving me a 4 to 6 month commitment. Listen, before you just tell me no, and then we potentially have to place all these rules, and then you guys don't do anything but play like alliance events essentially. you know Before you do that, like, just fucking come check us out. Like, come check us out, come hang out for this amount of time, play the events with us. We're casual. Because last time they were with us, maybe a couple of years ago, for like some GC things or whatever, we were hyperactive trying to win everything. And I think you've got some experience with that too. And we've stepped away off of that. Camel's been doing too much. They got the meth pipe out. So we have a couple, more than a couple. We have like 3 or 4 events that are priorities for us that we want the team to show up for. And just kind of give them the pitch. Come hang out with us, blah blah blah. Let's put the most active people. I don't want about the strongest, right? If you're not gonna fucking log in, like, stay here, and make sure you have a shield. But if you're active and you're ready to, maybe go to the next level and at least have some fun for the next 6 months or so, like, let's do it. And so I think the team's hype. I think Japan is is quiet still, because they're, if Japan, they like to test the waters for a minute. So that's and that's really about it. So I feel like they're quiet. I got their leaders in. I put everybody as R1. So everybody's kind of got some incentive to, you know, kind of work with us and show up and all those things. But the first two events that we had as an alliance team was Polar and Wasteland this week, and those are not our priorities right now. Again, we have an Elite War coming up with Sim this coming week. That's pretty much the only priority for us right now. And we had like 85 plus in each event, So I'm really excited to see some of the turnout this week leading into the Elite War, to make sure it wasn't just fucking fairy dust. And
Yeah, I don't know if it was
was
I don't know if it was the stat changes or what was the thing that changed, but I do feel like the game has changed now, where the powerful nations have moved towards a more participation model, which is fun to see. I mean, that's better for everyone. I know you guys had some type of balance before where it was like, let's really try to win the double void head of state and let's care a little bit less about the double frenzy. Are you still trying to do a balance like that? And I'm specifically asking because I'm selfish, in 785, like it's the same question that you're talking about. Of course, the second and third alliances want to play the kill event. The kill event is great. And of course you can forbid them from playing, but then, they don't love that. So did you guys stick to that
well,
balance you had, or what do you got going on now?
I mean, right now we need to win this void. That's what we have right now. Because we've been getting our asses kicked in void. I think we've lost 3 or 4 in a row, maybe. Yeah. So it's like 3 or 4 voids in a row we've lost. So it's like, listen, we're just trying to win this event. So if you guys can not set a trap with 60 fucking guys with T10, like I'd be really grateful for that. You know.
Yeah, fair enough. Keep it simple.
Like I don't know what else to say. Like please, for the love of God, unless we got like a 3 billion lead, like we're playing 372. Shout out V time. But it's very possible he just flies around in 5600 city for forever. But who knows? At the end of the day, like we'd like to win this void because it's been a little aggravating, losing voids like this because we're not used to it. And it's a direct relation to what I just said earlier. It's really easy to beat us when you don't have to fight us, and they've been finding points, in our second alliance really, really cheaply and easily. So I'd like
I
to
think
think those times are over, and everybody with T13 for the most part that's active is now with us. Man, we gotta we're thick, bro. We're thick. We look like a Chinese alliance right now. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, we look like a motherfucking China. We look like 555 at their height. Thick.
LG, I think you've touched on some of this already, but what was is it more top end power? Is it more like your main team power that you gained from this, or more activity, or just kind of all of the above? What does
Yeah,
anything stand out?
it checks boxes, man. I mean, the first 2 boxes were was simply activity. Like I need you to be able to show up for these specific things at these specific times. And if you can check that box, then all right, like you're like halfway there. You're like
Yeah.
halfway there. And obviously we wanted the strongest, but again, if the strongest wasn't online, man, you can stay
It's
over
just
there.
show strength, right? It's not functional
Yeah.
strength.
Yeah, that's whack. I want to be able to show up with 100 members, man. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to show up with 100 members when we're the number one alliance in our nation, and I know I have more than 100 people, logging into the game on a daily basis. So I feel like that was kind of the pot I kept stirring, and I do believe that Mott understood where I was going because I would have made it boring for them. Like, listen, if you guys don't want to try this out, you're just going to tell me to go fuck myself, fine. But I'm telling you right now, your shield drops, you're dead, on a Sunday. I don't care if you're trying to attack. I don't care if I don't care if that. I'm going to bust your fucking head because you're not allowed to fight on Sundays anymore unless it's frenzy, And my rebuttal to the, maybe what Holbrook is about to ask me You know, my rebuttal is, listen, Frenzy, do what the fuck you want. You guys want to play box opener, play farmer fucking faggot? Be my guest. Do it on fucking Frenzy Sunday because I don't give a shit. Neither does my nation, neither is my team, neither is my leadership. None of those things matter to us. So have your box opening fucking, bonanza that day. But on Void Sunday, man, oh man, you that shield will not come down. And that was where it was going to go if they told me to go fuck myself in a nice way. And I would have said it in a nice way as well because I'm super cool with these guys. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but that's the tone it would have came off in a nicer way, I guess. So I'd like to think all the way around, man. We got stronger, we got more active. Let's put it this way: we had essentially about 30 spots available. Not to say that we couldn't show up with more than 70 people in Elite War or something like that, but maybe 15 of those other 30, it was flip a coin. One of those deals. So people became casual. Life happens, right? We all know life happens. A couple people's parents passed away. I mean, shit, the list goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So the long and short of it is we had about 30 spaces. So we gave them the opportunity for that 30 spaces. I gave them a handful of my R4 spots because I want to see what they're made of leadership wise, right? Like I just put, I didn't take anybody out of Discord leadership, but game leadership. Like I just put some bangers on the bench. It's like
Yep.
taking fucking Steph Curry and sitting him in the third quarter. It's like when you're down. Like what are you doing? What are you doing? So I got some bangers on the bench right now because whatever. I got to give some of these R4 spots to the Japanese team. But motherfucker, it's time to work. If you
Yeah.
want this
Yeah,
spot, it's time
but
to work.
LG, you already know anybody that's there for the team is happy to be R3 or even R1, hopefully.
Oh, correct, but not Japanese. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
Holbrook.
No. I'm talking about the people you've been playing with, and I'm talking about
Oh, correct. Yes.
The bangers on the
Cannon?
bench.
I'm
Yeah.
saying leadership bangers, guys that I would like to control controls in a wasteland. Right now they can't.
I
Shit
see.
like that. That's what I meant by that comment. I apologize for not maybe going down that rabbit hole for a second. But
No, it's just
R,
I think it's
R4
super
controls.
interesting because you're totally right. I've
R4
even
only controls, your elite wars, your polars, and your wasteland, commands. So, again, I got some bangers sitting on the bench that now have to type in chat if they want to lead something or say something, right? They can't just use the controls. So,
I
and we use
totally
those things in
I
425 anyway.
I totally get what you're saying to the point of I have emailed the alliance and said, I'm from America. I don't have this like rank respect system. If you're a leader, all you have to do is mail me and I'm going to listen to what you say and I'm going to respect that you're a leader and I don't care what your rank is. And so if a rank is important to you, I need you to actually let me know because like I don't even have that instinct or culture or ability or strength.
Japanese, I feel, and I have never experienced Japanese saying something to me, even though I've said the exact same message to the entire team. Listen, guys, if you need a want a rank, and you feel as though you deserve it, please message me and Panda or something along those lines. And I've literally had people leave GFK over the past couple of years and go to Mott because they stayed R2 for too long. And they even made a comment in the Alliance chat directly before leaving the Alliance chat. I'm still R2 for more than 6 months. I guess my contribution isn't enough. And then left Alliance. Like didn't even give anybody a chance to say, boom, 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 try to rebuttal them. They were gone. They're back now, but still, it's like stupid things like that. And that was a good warrior. Like I'll be honest with you. Like it kind of like opened my eyes. It was like, man, all because I didn't make this fucker R3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm sure people are tired of hearing about our nations, but I think this is great general advice. Like somebody, if you don't understand or care about rank, somebody should, because I guarantee
Yes,
you,
you
on the
must.
team do.
You must, dude. Yes,
One-
yes.
just put
Go look at
that
GF
down when you-
or MOF right now. We're 90% of them are R1 right now. And I don't even know what KPI I'm going to use to raise the ranks. without it being money related. So if you want to give me some suggestions on that, I would be super appreciative, because that's the whole rabbit hole that I've been in the last 72 hours when I wasn't watching golf. You
You
know, it's like, how
can
do I get these guys out of R1 when I don't want it to be based off of spend?
you can give
Go.
me R0 for all I care.
Yeah, I know that, Hawk. I know that, and it's
L-
not you. It's primarily the Japanese members, and even some, like, like Tariq. Tariq, like, same way. If I start fucking around his ranks, he gets all in his feelings.
Asians always care about rank. That's why a lot of them don't even want to leave their alliance, because they care so much about their fucking R5. Oh,
Listen,
they
I
lose
offered
R5
June
or
R5,
R4.
man. I put it all. I put the whole dick on the table when I was in the alliance. I said, June, I want you to come be my leader. I just want to be the military leader. I just want to, this, and you can do everything else. So long as it makes sense. You and I can talk together. But, like, bro, you can have R5. I do not need this shit, because I trust them not to dismantle my alliance. Like, that's really the only thing I really care about. Is like the tech and shit like that. And I don't even know if he could break that down, but I'm sure he could. But anywho, like,
I
those
think,
are.
yeah, I think for people who are listening to this and saying, well, what kind of system can we put into place to keep an eye on our ranks? Because everything that you guys are saying matches my experience. There are certain parts of the world that seem to have like I try to use the word culturally as a sign of respect. It does seem to be like culturally rooted in kind of more hierarchical structures. But what I think you want to do as an alliance leader is, there is going to be some group of people who are just, they're very active in the alliance. They're part of the, like, social scene in a very good way. Get a handful of those people. There'll be some overlap with your kind of traditional leadership team, but it might not be, totally inclusive. You might have some people on, like, the R rank committee, to use a term, that aren't on your traditional leadership team. You just need to see, like, folks who are online a lot, who will be able to say with confidence, this is how this person is acting. These are people who have stepped up when the moment called for it. Make sure you have them spread out over all the time zones, which should, if you're a multi-time zone alliance, like, capture
Yeah.
all the different groups that you have, and then have some sort of regular check-in. You're like, who's been really showing up? If we're looking to make promotions, who are the people who have taken those actions that aren't just, like, necessarily spend based, right? And those moments can be many, but part of being a leader is establishing and embodying your alliance's culture. And the
Yeah,
embodiment piece is really
100%.
important. Like, your leaders need to be kind of the best of you, whatever the you is, whatever your culture is. You want those folks to be the pillars of that culture and embodying it and holding it up, even in those moments of strife when somebody like an entire group just went the wrong way in an elite war, or an entire group, like, just missed a big attack that you had spent 35 minutes setting up. Like, you need those people to get to the cracks as they're showing, and make sure they don't get bigger, and then, like, heal them in the moment.
Yeah, I it's 100% a culture thing, and it's probably the reason why we haven't been able to merge for however many years we've been in Fort. Because June, the R5 of Mott, he's an original 425 member, so him and I go back since the beginning of 425. 10 days in or whatever it was when I joined the damn game. So him and I go way back. So him and I got a lot of respect for each other. I think I did attack him once, like, early on, but I was trying to teach him, like, can't just sit around and not hide your troops. It's like, you got to hide your troops. So anywho, so him and I have always had good respect, but we've never been able to, work together above and beyond, like, a GC, you know?
Yeah.
I think I even told you guys a handful of, maybe a year or so ago, when 555 was at the height of their, whatever, elite war status, and really doing their thing. they wham bammed us 3 times in a row in Elite War, and during GC, mind you, and that was during a time when 621 was kind of giving them the dick in their face during GC times. So they super focused and hyper focused on Elite War, and they triple banged us, man. So I called June, man. June, bro, come help us out, bro. These guys are coming 3 times in a row, and I don't know if the team's bags can fucking hold that, So long story short, man, they came, they came and helped us out, and and it wasn't even like a question, I was talking to one of their R4s like after. And I was like, "What's up? Like, we good? You guys gonna come?" He's like, "Yeah, June already said, boss asked, we go." I was like, "Oh, all right. Like, that's how it is. Sweet."
That that's
And
that's the trick when dealing with Asian cultures in general, but especially with Japanese, Koreans, even to some degree Chinese. It's very difficult that, for example, if they are unhappy with something, that they will come to you and tell it and say it to you. So the
oh
way
yeah, no,
the
they love to hide it. Yeah, yeah,
no,
for
no.
sure.
The way around it is you find out who is the person within that group or the two persons that they respect. The persons that when they say something, they all follow. Because there's
Yeah.
always one. And focus on that
Yep.
person. Convince that person, the rest will follow. You don't need to
Yeah,
worry
if you
if
go
you.
look in our hive, go look who sees our current governor.
Yeah.
So I know
Like,
exactly what you're talking about.
and going forward, if you want to know how they feel, uh, as things happen, just go to that leader and ask him, like, how are you guys feeling about this or that? He will tell you. The other ones, it will be very difficult that they come to you, especially in the
Correct.
On
beginning.
They always have to have
on
they
that
always
on
have
that
to have a
note,
powwow.
Lead God, I know you've been trying to recruit me. I don't think I'll be a suitable person. All the fucking Asians hate me.
I think the point can be broadened out for folks who are going through merges or have
Yeah.
recently merged, and they're trying to get their top alliances to either come together or they're doing some sort of split. Find the person who, like when I was in SKL, we were a conglomerate of different groups, and for each group there was kind of the tribal chief of that group. And think about who that person is, and use that person as kind of the canary in the coal mine. If there's a problem, they'll know about it. And the earlier that you can figure it out as your kind of two alliances are coming together after a recent merge, and head those problems off, being proactive in leadership early on can really prevent any bad blood from forming, the kind of stuff that lingers and then 2 years later it's an issue. So what Hokage is talking about, find the person who's kind of the point person for the particular group in question and make
I
sure
would
that you've got good comms with that person.
I would say if you have a Asian nation, try not to hit their farms. Like, try and speak to the leader, tell them the rules. Try not to hit the farm, because one thing about these Asians, they care more about their goddamn farm than their main fucking city. And
Bro,
that's
how
just
the
from,
hell
that's just from experience. Honestly, dude, I'm telling you, like,
how the,
if
goat,
if
how
you
the
can,
hell are you in an old ass nation and you guys still have farms? That's madness
dude,
to me.
let me tell you something. There's no farms, but people don't look. My nation's broken, bro. There's no point talking about my nation. But what I'm saying is, genuinely, a lot of people do care about their farms a lot. I don't know why. Or it's like if you hit it, it's like, I don't know, you've broken their leg or something. So I think if you're gonna have cleanup rules and stuff, state the rules clearly. Because I'm telling you, if you hit someone's farm
Yeah,
and
we've
the
had
big
our
guy gets
rules in
upset,
.425
the big
about farms
they will
forever.
hold you
I'm not worried
forever.
about that.
So leave God,
That's
you're
like the
not.
last.
I think the one thing
Yeah, I'm
about
not
you
worried
is you've
about
been trying
that.
to recruit me, and I've been hearing what your nation's going for, and I'm just thinking, probably not the right person to come.
Like,
LG,
Yeah, I
you still
mean,
have farms? LG, your Japanese still have farms?
I'm sure there's a couple out there with some shit in it. Yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
I mean,
they'll have like 20, 30 million BP.
I think that's different. It's okay for it not to have protection. Like we, surprisingly to
I mean, it's
me,
protected during void or it's cleaned. So we have rules, and just real quickly, if we have purge and things of that nature, and if there's more than I don't know, like a million minerals and the shield's down, we're gonna clean it. We do that for void and frenzy, even though we don't even care about frenzy because we want you to clean your farms. The farms are not meant to sit there and fucking give shit to the enemy nation. We do it as a disrespect to the enemy, right? We go there, and if you don't want to fight us, fine, we're going to take all your shit. So we don't allow that in 425. You can come here. If you're not going to fight us, you ain't getting shit, you know?
I
So,
mean, maybe
um,
maybe 785 just got lucky, but we asked the Japanese, like, hey, if we just give everyone RSS whenever they're ready to upgrade, can we kill all the farms? There was literally no discussion. They just went, yeah, cool. And so there's no farms in 785, period. There's just the top four alliances or five or whatever it is. There's no farms at all.
And just to
yeah,
make
and there's definitely a handful of active forums that I've seen out there. And there's even been a couple in the last, I would say, 6 months that we've found, started to eat, just because it didn't have a shield when it was supposed to. And during the process, the shield came on. So stupid stuff like that. So, but I feel like farms at this stage for like a 425 member is for a free player, and they just like to do Medici twice and, all the stupid events
I think the
twice.
older nations don't have the farm issues anymore. It's more the newer ones. But what I'm just saying is like, even if it's not a farm or a second city or an academy or whatever it is, what I'm saying is, if you hit it and that guy gets butt hurt, he's gonna go to the big guy, and then the big guy's gonna get butt hurt. So what I'm saying is, if you've got rules, you just make it clear. And like you said, of course, if someone's hurt, you have to speak to the big guy because they do hold it. They do really hold it in, and they will never come and tell you, you've done something wrong or whatever. Never. You have to go and try and dig and find out what it is they're upset about and why they got upset, etc., etc.
I agree with everything being said. I'm just saying for anyone that doesn't want to deal with this bullshit, maybe offer free resources and ask if you can shut down farms.
Oh
It
yeah,
worked for
definitely. I
us.
think that's definitely a good idea. Like majority of us, like me, man, I'm maxed all the time. I don't mind if sending my bloody fleet to
before
doomsday halfway around the world, and they can clean me out. I don't really care.
I forget the last person I told to do that, and they're like, "But what if your troops return?" I'm like, "Well, if you send your troops to my city with no line, you're an idiot." Like but it is your job to pay attention because I'm not gonna. I'll tell you how long it'll take to go there and back. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and stare at you, while you do this. And if you send your troops to my city, I don't know what to tell you, honey bear. But I haven't done that in a really long time because I feel like everybody's on such a green shit, journey that, nobody needs resources anymore.
That's
Resources are for the newer nations, if you're like nation like 1,000 and up. I doubt even the 900 nations really even need it.
our
Unless they're like
bio.
civil war and stuff like that. But Holbrook, you got enough fucking RSS to make everybody, another level.
Bro, one of our bio farms has like, I don't know, fucking 700 million minerals or something crazy. And
Yeah, it's great.
it's
It's
there for
fun.
the nation. Whoever can get the green shit, as you're saying.
That's all it takes, man. Once you get the green shit, let us know, and if you have a nation that is, competitive and things of that nature, they're gonna have the resources when you're ready. And if you're following the rules of the nation that they laid out, I can 100% guarantee you that if one of the guys from my third alliance came to me and said, "Hey, I need minerals to go to C38 or something," gay, dude, get it. Your shield's tight every Sunday, bro. Never seen you, doing wonky shit. Here you go. Now maybe if the guy who drops the shield all the time asks me blah blah blah, maybe I don't respond to that message. Maybe I don't know, but for everybody else that does the deal, man, 100%, dude. Following the rules of the nation and doing your thing, and when you're on that marathon race for the green shit, when you're not spending the money in the game, that's again, that's something that I feel like. What's the new nation now? Is there a 1,500 yet? I feel like it's coming. You know, what's the newest nation? Anybody know what the newest nation is currently? But long and short of it
I
is, you got like 1100 and up, man. Those guys are talking about resources, man. Nobody below that really talking about resources. I don't think
I,
anyway.
I think
I think
to
it's even more. I think it's even more. I'll be real quick. I think it's even
yeah.
more interesting, maybe. 667 did not. They had a bunch of farms, and we had no farms in 785. We merged. We said, you don't need your farms anymore. Resources are free. We gave them 3 months to play with their farms, but also take free resources. That time is gone, and now everyone in the nation is able to hunt every single city and every single alliance that's not in the top whatever 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's also fun. I think people don't value that fun enough. Like, there are people in your nation, I guarantee there are people in your nation that would love to just smoke farmers all day long. And there's
Yeah, it's my
basically
boy
a
Bear.
never ending, yeah, there's basically like a never ending alliance chat of like, here's another farmer, let's murder. Who's got slaughter? Here's another farmer, let's murder. That's also fun. Like, I get that farming can be fun for people that want to farm. Growing another city can be fun for people that want to grow another city, but you're not taking into account that it's also fun to kill those cities. So I'm just saying there's a trade-off that I think people could take more advantage of.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't experienced anything like that in 425 in some time. I think there's like one wonky alliance like down in the, level 1 areas. There's like 3 or 4 guys in it, but they all got like less than 200,000 troops, and it's whether or not they healed them that week or not. Um, and there's really no other scraps to my knowledge anyway. And we do sweeps every so often in 425 for these particular things. Um, and I'd like to think that we're a fairly clean nation outside of the handful of farmers that are, sporadically, placed. The good news is they're for the most part all together. I think 4 of the 5 are in the same alliance, within the same area. But my boy Bear from KSX, he loves to hop around and kill those people on a daily, weekly basis. So it's super rare that those guys have troops, during a Sunday event, for conversation's sake. But 100%, when you're building up your nation, you're a couple of years later than me, Holbrook. So when you're in the process of building that nation up, and in that same timeline, man, 100%. That was one of my favorite pastimes in, say, the first like year of the game. Once we got rules and things like that, we had like 3, I call them troll alliances, but people who didn't want to follow rules. There's probably 30 people scattered, or more, scattered throughout those alliances. So I had fun in the beginning of the game. There's still a handful of those guys, floating around alliances now that are active, and, things of that nature. But then you still also see the same name that you killed 10,000 times, you know, work his way into the fucking fifth alliance somehow, some way. You just kind of chuckle at it. But then you kill
We,
him again for purge, so
we,
it's like it just never ends, brother.
we definitely have those guys too, and they make me laugh. We have at least 3 people
Yes.
who are constantly in NC talking about how 785 is a failed nation. And I'm like, cool. What's your statistic? Is it our polar ranking, our elite war ranking? Is it that we just won head of state? What exactly are we a
There's
failure at?
currently a message about how we attack people during the event on our NC, within the last 10 days.
Yeah, those
It's like,
people,
well,
those
yeah,
people are never going to give up.
your shield dropped on Sunday, bro. That's part of the rules, like, sorry. And yeah, so anyhow, yeah, those are all fun, but everybody in those, like, I feel like that's not a thing for, again, I hate to keep predicating, but the nations with great leadership, and the nations that are on these win streaks, and are powerful in certain, events like elite war and polar, blah blah blah. But there's, that's only, say, 10 of us, 15 of us tops. The rest of everybody out there, kind of trying to build those things, and work their way up the ranks, or just put their time in, because ultimately everybody that's like, whatever, 1100 nation and up, something like that, you guys got to put your time in, before you get your merger, and then you get a crappy merger, and then you get a good merger, however it works for you. You got to put your time in, and I think it'll be good for you if you do. At least more fun, you know. But if I give anybody a suggestion, man, try to savor the people. You need the active members. You need those people logging into the game that are willing to follow a couple of rules, and go from there. I think that's got a lot to do with it. But in the grand scheme of things, you're going to put your guys like in a little position where I think you can do a lot better if you just keep following the whatever the guy in front of you. Hopefully, you get a good leader and somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, even if they're not game known. You know, leadership is an attribute well outside the game of Age of Origins. So those are the things that I think people should really pay attention to. But I think once you have the rules in place, you can kind of go from there. But a land without rules is chaotic, and if you don't enforce the rules, you turn into maybe a little bit of what 425 has been dealing with the last 3 or 4 months with Lost Voids. You know, and there's definitely been some shield drops that we just looked at, and 5 minutes later, the enemy killed. It's like I should have killed that. Why didn't I kill that? Because I didn't want to upset the Japanese. Like those are all the things that go through my head in the heat of the moment. But that guy's got his head busted, and now we're down 1 billion points. you know so those are the things we deal with if you don't follow up with some of the things that go through there. But the good news is we're hopefully going to be making some changes with that here in the very near future. And I hope some of these guys that are putting it together, that freshly merged, are going to take advantage of the activity, the riding of the motion that you guys are on with because it should be motivating. Should shake up the GC ranks a little bit. I was looking at the spreadsheet there on Enoch server a week or so ago when it got dropped. So I think that's super interesting. I think 858 and all those guys kind of get mixed up all together again. That was short-lived, being split up, I guess. But yeah, I think the merger that everybody's crying about up there. What was that? What's the one?
Nine,
1400 or something or not? I don't know. I forget. What was
nine,
the
nine,
nation?
10, 910, 908 is the biggest, like,
That's
upsetting
the one
people.
that's the one that's making everybody cry. I thought there was another one though.
There's a man, who is it? You're right.
There's another one. Yeah, we all know. Yeah, 910. They're
10.
they're OP right now. Like they can come down and give us a challenge right now with the activity and things, and the cities that they got in that nation currently. So they're definitely brewing some stuff. I'm excited to watch those guys do their thing. But there was another. Somebody say it. Somebody knows
While
it.
you
Who
guys
is it?
are
Like,
thinking about the nation number, let me jump in on a couple things. To synthesize some of the conversation, there's going to come a point in your nation evolution where you're going to have a switch from we need farms to keep growing to farms are only a liability. And especially for nations that have just merged, this is relevant because when you guys, one of the things about new mergers is it's a chance to kind of reset the rules a little bit and you can set the tone both in your interaction with the other nations alliance, top alliance, as you're kind of working out what your new nation's going to look like, but also kind of it sends a message to everyone in the nation. For those leaders of alliances who are, in nations that have merged, think about where your nation is on that kind of evolution spectrum. And maybe you guys aren't ready yet to make the switch from, farms are necessary and helpful to farms are only a liability. But maybe you're past that point and you need to play some catch up. Think about where you're going to be. Is it going to be in 6 months that you're going to no longer need farms? Set the tone and start getting people prepared for that, because you're always going to have people who disagree with the rules, and they're going to be the ones loudest on Nation Chat. But the more you can slowly raise the temperature for everyone else, you'll get more engagement with the rules and more complicity with the rules. If you don't go from, all right, tomorrow there are no farms, do it instead in stages. Give them some time. And Holbrook alluded to this with the 3-month window. Like, a lobster that you slow boil doesn't even realize it's being cooked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. It totally worked for us. Zero headache.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever, some crying farmers, but zero headache I care about.
Yeah. So I
Totally
think
agree.
it's relevant for folks who have freshly merged. It's relevant for every nation leader, but when you get a merge, you do have like a brief window where you can shift the rules more drastically than you would be able to otherwise. Because it's a new nation, new rules, you know. So whatever your rules making process is, don't just make the rules for right now, but set the tone and set the framework for the
Oh,
rules that you're going to
it
make
was
in
7-Eleven.
6 months.
Didn't 7-Eleven just get him another merge?
With 700, is that right?
So,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
7-Eleven and 700 got a merge, and
Yeah.
799 and 767 merged. Also, that's
Oh.
a pretty big one.
That's got to be a big name one. Yeah. That'll be
yeah,
interesting.
there's a couple OP ones that were at least engaging to take a look at. Yeah, that was Ducky's Nation. Yeah, 799. They got one too, right? Yeah, Duck and the other guy. So beasts, right?
Yeah, Ducky and Beast in 799.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's really
definitely.
interesting that you're seeing like what we would call great mergers again, because I felt like there was a run where you weren't getting a lot of high quality mergers out of the merge pool. I
Definitely.
think that's an interesting shift.
Definitely not my business, and I'm sure I'm going to take heat for this. But Woody keeps asking if Ducky's still playing. I think that's the question a lot of people are curious about, and I don't have the answer. I have no clue. Maybe someone can mic up if they know. But that's a very interesting merge if Ducky's not playing, right?
Yeah.
I heard not only was Ducky not playing, but Beast was not playing also.
After the merge or before the merge?
Before the merge. Before the merge.
Got it. I'm sure they've peaked in, so I would assume at this juncture they're at absolute minimum, depending on how long they were quote removed from the game. At absolute minimum, they're going to come and poke their nose in a couple of things to see what the current leadership has done with the place. At least that's what I would do. But
I can't talk to the current, but as of December of last year, Ducky was still playing. When I left, he was still active. I don't know what people are saying.
I mean, I feel like
the
I had
time
them
period.
in Polar about 3 or 4 months ago, and they were definitely both there. So, yeah, I don't know how new this is developing or not, but kind of the first I'm hearing of it, honestly. So, but hey, out of my wheelhouse. Probably pertains more to 785 because they're like all in there, and their guts up there.
And that's always been a natural rival of ours, so we haven't been like tight. We're not friends, Like I think the first 5 GCs went 3 to 799 and 2 to 785. So we've just always been rivals. I've spoken to Ducky on Discord. It's been respectful, but I'm definitely not going to reach out and be like, "Hey, are you still playing, buddy?" So I try to stay away from it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want any more heat. There's already enough rivalry. I don't want any more heat. But Woody's the one that he asked the other night, like 2 nights ago, on his thing. I don't know. I mean,
and then what? 7-Eleven getting a merge is kind of crazy because they were doing their thing, showing up with 90 before the merger, right? Or do I have nation wrong or something?
Yeah,
no,
they were
top
coming
20.
strong.
Yeah, they were top 20, coming heavy. Well, I never played them, but from what I've heard, they come with 85 plus, and then they got a merger. And they got a merger with somebody halfway decent. Who'd they get merged with? 767.
No, they got 700, and initially, Cowboy was very upset about it. In fact, before it was announced, he said, "I'll take anyone except 700." And then it was announced, and he got 700. But then, as they started looking at it, 700 isn't like super top heavy, but they bring participation. They bring numbers, and
That's
their
what
numbers.
matters, man. That should be a good merge then.
Yeah. Their numbers are solid, and
That was our thing with 503. Like they weren't real top heavy or anything like that, but and they had a bunch of active people that were excited.
Yeah, yeah, and Angel of Death was just beside himself. They had to do an intervention with him. Cowboy said they had to calm him down because he was ready to burn everyone. And I guess they've come together and it's going well from what I heard. I don't know if Cowboy's around, but
I
I
spoke
don't
to
know.
him. I spoke to him a couple days ago, and he
Oh,
was extremely optimistic. He said
Yeah,
they're not trying to do a spreadsheet merge. I don't think people talk about this enough. You put two great nations together. Like imagine 858 merges with 904 right now. There are 100 people that used to play in the top alliance in an amazing nation that now get relegated to the second alliance that maybe are dictated to terms they're not excited about. That's tough. You know what I mean? Cowboys merge, it sounded like he said basically, we got a good alliance, we got a good system. We want everybody great from 700 to come join us and be part of good times. And it sounded like it was just all happiness and let's do this. Let's make it work. That's my last conversation with him.
yeah,
yeah.
that's
That
kind of what I
sounds like a
heard too.
cowboy convo. Sounds like a good cowboy convo. He's the man. Good man. I'm happy that that's gonna work out good for them. So yeah, I'm excited to see that too, because they were again doing their thing before the announcement of a merger. I was a little shocked of that particular merger more so than the 9-10 merger. Um, just because I think their elite war ranks were like 20 spots higher or something like that. But they were again known to be super hyperactive well before this. So yeah, excited to see what that looks like. There's definitely some potential good nations brewing. In some of these mergers that were released for sure. I'm anxious to see what the 9-10 908 thing really pans out to be in say 3 to 4 months. Um, you know, Everyone likes the hype of a merger. So it's like when that hype dies down, from the potential merge or coming together, whatever the deal is it still there? So that's what I'm anxious to see for some of these guys. That's for sure. And then yeah, the trudge. The trudge up the elite war ranks or the polar ranks, whatever your fancy is. You know, some of these guys coming together is going to bust somebody's head, and I'm going to check the report out. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm excited to bust someone's head for the first time. So, you know,
Light show
V-time,
you
V-time, if you're still there, bro, you better make sure that homeboy's 5600's got a motherfucking shield on that ass. I'm going to bust his motherfucking head. So just make sure.
I
Light
see him
show
down
you
there. He's listening.
I'm ignoring V time on purpose. That old retired lion bastard. Light show you didn't get a merge. How you feeling in 858? What's the strategy? What's the move? What's the next move?
Yeah, we didn't get a merge, but we actually didn't really push super hard for it either. Um, Now we are doing the 785 strategy: burn the farmers, burn everyone who doesn't want to pay attention, doesn't want to follow rules. Get everyone down to 3 alliances. We built a National Farm Alliance like you do. Give away resources, so you don't need farms. We'll give you resources. Um, it's it's still a little rough right now, but we're getting there. Um, like Lead God, we have a Japanese alliance that only plays with Japanese players. They won't play with anyone else. They refuse to come to any of the other alliances. They live in bubbles 24/7. So there's not a whole lot we can do about them. Luckily, they do live in bubbles, and there's only maybe a dozen of them. So they're probably just going to end up having to do their thing over in their corner. Just we'll catch them at resource tiles or whatever. But um, other than that,
What
we have.
what changed for you to start to do these things?
So we started natural progression of the game. We're starting to get a little bit of tapering off in participation. We have some people that are having to leave for, this, that, and the other thing, work, whatever. And we were getting high 80 participation, and we're probably in the 70s, starting to drop down. And we need to push for a merge. So clean things up, drop our BP, and see if we can get a merge. And hopefully we can pull off another amazing merge like we got the first time. We'll see. We'll see. That's our plan, though. Following the 785 plan.
So is there a second alliance that just doesn't want to work with you type shit?
So there's 3 alliances, and a troll alliance and the Japanese. The troll alliance is just.
Let's talk about the real alliances. Alliance 2 and 3.
So the real
Talk about-
alliance is the first and second. We are working together with them right now to bring everyone that is active. We don't care about strength. If you participate and you're active, come to the main alliance. Let's be a super alliance. So we're working on that right now. We're working on getting rid of the third alliance, bringing everyone into number 1 and 2. That is our current main objective. Get rid of everyone that, get rid of the farmers. So the third alliance is only maybe a third full. So we think we can get everyone together in 2 alliances.
Okay, sick. I like it.
Yeah, I think it'll work. We slipped in EW for a bit there. We kind of focused a little bit on GC, and we just didn't have the numbers to maintain EW. But we're climbing back up again. We're 28th now, so we're hoping to peak back up into the 20s again. We were there for a while, but we slipped. So
Didn't you get farmed there by somebody too?
No one's farmed us. We just had some significant losses. We lost to 7-Eleven, we lost to 11-11, we lost to 785. We lost to 904 once. We beat 904 a bunch of times, but this last time we fought them, they beat us. So we kind of slipping, but we're trying to fix that. We're working on it.
Been there, brother. Yeah, it's a struggle, but it's cool when it works.
Yeah, so we're gonna push hard for a merge in one of these next upcoming windows, and hopefully we can get a something like that, like 910 got. That would be amazing. We want to give the 567s, the 425s, the 255s. We want to give you guys something, a challenge, and we want the challenge too. So we're hoping that we can put together another team like 910 is, and
they're gonna be fun to watch. Like I said, now that they're kind of all together, and I haven't really looked since they have actually merged. So I'm anxious to see 2-3 months from now what they can really put together. So
yeah,
I'm sure they're going to try to go out there and reach out and touch somebody. If I were them, I would.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, I would too. And they're now in our GC bracket, so they won GC last time. We've won the last 4 GCs, and we are going to do everything we can to win, but I don't know that it's possible. We are very, very friendly with 910, 908, so that part's going to be a little difficult. But we'll
do the old school. Whoever wins round 1, man, then you can back off and not spend all that money for no reason, especially if you know you're going to lose for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. And then 877 got a merge. That's the cockroach guy. They got a merge too. And they have
that guy. That guy's been carrying. That guy's been carrying a fucking goddamn hiking bag on his shoulders for quite some time.
Yeah, and they got to merge, and they've got like 1141s now. So I absolutely know they're going to come for our crown. So if we can't hold back 910, we'll at least hold back 877.
Yeah, I saw 910 swooped into your guys' bracket. So I think that's
Yeah.
going to be, you know,
Oh, it's going to be way sweaty. It's going to be way sweaty, but it'll be fun. We love GC 858. It's been a GC nation for a while now. We love GC. A lot of people hate on it, but we love it, and we have a good time with it. And
well, they hate on it when they lose every time. And, you know, and that's just, it's natural. You know, if I lose something every single time over and over and over again, I'm probably not going to play, you know, unless it's
yeah,
golf, you know,
yeah, I
unless it's
hear
golf, you know, unless it's
ya.
golf.
Yep. So that's kind of what's going on over here. Is Big Bird coming back to play? I keep seeing that in chat.
No,
No, I think
no.
he's just so interested in all the little movements that are happening in game, you know, or in the different nations with like you know even the couple of things that have happened with us in 425 and you know just the drama and you know I think he misses that. You can't help but miss things like that, right, Big Bird.
For sure, man. And a lot of it's been focused in the context of EW, which is always my favorite event. So, like I enjoy watching EWs. You know what I mean? And there's some cool stuff coming down the pipe. I think, especially in the top echelon. So, Lightshow, I think one of the points that you made about consolidating the 2 and 3 is really smart because once you hit below a certain player count, it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. More and more people start dying off, and it accelerates. But if you can
Yep.
catch that and get like active people back together in large numbers, you have a better retention rate, I think, for those players.
Yeah, and you know, kind of doing like League God said, you know, hey, if it's R4 that's keeping you from coming to the main alliance, you can have R4. It's a number. It means nothing. You know, you want R4, come over. What you know, I'm sure a bunch of our guys would be glad to be R1s. You know, so yeah, we're going to do whatever it takes to get the best and most active players over there. Well, not whatever it takes, but within reason. Um, and we're going to try to get everyone over there. And we've been talking with everyone, and we think we've come to a very good agreement to consolidate all three, bring the best and strongest to Inc. And hopefully that will happen.
Sweet, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'll tell you what, man, we just kind of went through exactly that in 425 and you know just watching the chat and you know I kind of mentioned earlier we had Polar and Wasteland this week and we had 85 plus in both events like without even really trying, you know. It's cool and exciting, you know, to say the least.
So one thing that we've been doing that I'd like to share real quick. So I'm trying to motivate participation. And so what I came up with is every time you show up to an event that we consider a priority event, we're going to give away blue coins. We're going to randomly choose from the list of people that participated. If you did not show the event, you don't qualify for the blue coin giveaway. So if you showed up to the event and you participated, you're in the drawing. R4, R5 is not included, so so that whole top end is left out. So we just give it to the general population. So every time we have an Elite War, every time we have Polar, Wasteland, we did Wasteland this time because we had a really good Wasteland. Normally it sucks, but this last Wasteland was really good, so I I did one for that too. It's not a lot of money, but it makes the people happy, and they're kind of excited about that. So that's been helping us too.
Light show, either my headphones stopped working or there was a long period of silence there.
Yeah.
And I felt
There was-
compelled to fill the
Nope.
void.
No
There-
one's ever
there-
killed the chat more than giving away blue coins. Holy shit.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I apologize.
No, dude.
No,
it's,
no.
I think
Did I leave you speechless?
no, I think a lot of us have been there, and we don't want to tell you don't do it, but it's also been not successful for probably a lot of us. I've also been toying with trying to figure out how to do it. And I've been thinking maybe I'll give a certain amount of blue coins to any city that's not a 41 that makes the top 10 in a priority event or something like that. But man, people know how to turn a good thing into a bad thing. And so it's just a little fraught. If you find something that works, I think the community would love to hear it, because I have never seen a giveaway that didn't turn into a lot of hurt feelings. It's just tough.
So this, I feel you, because this is the second time I've been down this road. I was giving away blue coins for the same thing. If you make it into the top 100 in KE, whatever, and there was a lot of hurt feelings. This time, it's totally random, so nobody's being picked for being better than anyone else. And I basically told everyone, if you complain, I'm just going to leave you out. You won't be included on the giveaway anymore. And I've done it for 2 weeks now, and there has been 0 complaints. And I've actually had a couple of players say, "Hey, I don't need blue coins. I'm doing well enough. Let's give it to someone else." So then I pull them out of that pool, and we give it to someone else. And so far, it's working really well. I'll let you know how it goes in a month, but right now, everyone's really liking it. And there's a lot of discussion about it. People, some of the I guess the translations don't work so well, so some of the foreign speakers are like, "What's this all about? How do I get in on this?" And I'm like, "Well, this is how it works." I mean, I posted it in Discord, Viber, and in the game, but you know how people are. They don't always read that stuff. So now they're kind of, "Oh, I understand now. Okay, got it." And I haven't had any negative feedback yet, so let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah, man, that's great. I think it's a good choice. I have a system that I use in 785 that's successful, but doing it publicly just didn't work out. There's always someone that feels like they felt like they deserve something. And so we just came up with a different strategy that I shared with Big Bird and LG, and it wouldn't work for anybody unless you had the same priorities as us. So I'm not trying to keep it secret. It's just I'm not going to waste your time trying to tell you how to do it when you have different priorities. Super cool to hear that at least one nation figured out how to give away coins without making enemies.
Yeah, so far we'll see what happens. Like I said, 2 weeks in, no complaints. Everyone's happy.
That more will be revealed.
It may be, but at this point, the way I did it was it's 100% random, and I put it back on them. If they don't show up to an event, they can't win the coins. So, and I've told everyone, hey, you show up, you're going to win coins. It will happen eventually. All you have to
Are
do
you
is
putting
show up.
everybody's name in like a randomizer and posting it to Discord?
Yeah. So what we're keeping track of all of the people who are participating in all the events, because we need to nail down who's doing what. So we have a spreadsheet going for that, and I just grab all of those people that participated, and I drop it into GPT, and I say, pick 2 random names, and it picks two names, and I post a screenshot of what ChatGPT did. If someone wants to see it, if they think I'm cheating or something, why I would be cheating my own giveaway, but whatever. So I'll post it if someone wants to see it, but yeah, I just completely random, and I tell everyone, hey, you can win it twice within a certain amount of time. If your name comes up, and you've won it twice already, we're going on to the next person. So we'll see. I'm hoping it works, but so far it's been nice, and people are liking it, and our numbers seem to be picking up a little bit, so that's good. I mean, we had like 50 people show up for Wasteland. Nobody plays that event, so.
All right, you're in our
See-
faction, and I think it's hilarious that Wasteland is not a priority for us. And I'm sure
Oh,
you guys get, I'm sure
yeah,
you guys get trash matchups. Like we're ranked above you guys, but not because we take it seriously. And I'm sure you guys could take it more seriously, and you'd still be where you are because that event, the matching on that event is so broken. It's such a shame. It's a good event with broken matching.
Exactly. It is a fun event. Like this last time we had, they fought like crazy. And it was actually a lot of fun. They fought really, really hard the whole time. And it was a lot of fun. So, but you're right, the matching is totally broken. And yeah, you're ahead of us too, and that kind of irritates us because
Sure.
we play and you don't.
We're still ranked ahead of you, and I'm not pretending that it's because we're better. I literally sat out the last one. I teleported or parachuted to S and did nothing because I felt no need to, and I felt like the guys could get some merit without me. And we're still ranked ahead of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's why
I
the
know.
event is broken.
I know. I mean, like we scored
Have
as
you
high
seen
as we could.
the top 100 in Polar in the last month or so?
Oh, it's
Also broken.
ridiculous.
Broken,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah,
Top 100 in Polar is inundated with 1,150 nations plus.
I'm a big believer in like don't abuse your VIP. It doesn't do you any good because that person is just like a customer service person. So if you abuse them, they'll just ignore you and you'll get nothing. And if you're nice to them, then there's a 1 in 100 chance that maybe they'll pass on whatever. But the only thing I've ever abused my VIP on is that Polar ranking, where I sent them like I don't remember what rank it was, maybe like rank 11 at the end of last season, and the alliance had 26 people in it, and the response I got back was like, well, maybe they got all the way up to number 9 in Polar, and then 74 people left the alliance. I was just like, yeah, sure. That's definitely what happened. I'm sure that 26 person alliance is better than 425. Like, of course. Of course, 425 should be ranked, whatever you guys are now, LG. It doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they're so stupid.
it
I
makes
was
no
looking at the
sense.
Polar rankings after this past week's matchup, and I think we're like 160, 170, something like that. And so I was looking at the top 100, and I was just scrolling, and I was like, this is fucking laughable. You know, it's all literally, it's like 11. It's like their time of the season or something, and it's like 1,100 nation to 1,200 nation is all in the top 100.
So we're facing 989. We just got the new updated matchups. If you have someone cool, let us know, obviously. But we're facing 989, which is a GC winner. So okay, cool. What are we in? Round 1, round 2? Well, I mean not round 1, but 2 or 3 or whatever. We're facing a GC champion. Meanwhile, these young nations are facing no one and just ranked high. It's a fucking joke. But everyone knows it's a joke, so I'm kind of okay with it. It's like, yeah, we're ranked 12th or 13th or whatever we are, but everyone knows we could smack everybody all the way up to rank, 2. Yeah, like we're not pretending we can smack 5, 6, 7. We're not pretending that we can smack 2, 5, 5. But everyone between us and 5, 6, 7, no disrespect, but let's go. Whenever you're ready, let's go.
Yeah, we keep getting 621.
Is it
And
possible that they're all in? Sorry to cut you off late, but I just had a thought real quick. Is it possible that they're all getting in the ranks this particular Polar season, is it possible that it's their first time playing Polar? So the couple of nations that did, whatever, control the map, they just got pushed all the way to the top of the rankings because it was their first shot at it.
For however much you want to believe it, my VIP said there are leagues. And so all of those people in front of 785 are in a different league, whatever that means. It's not like you can see what league you're in or change what league you're in. I assume it's a BP related league, but it's not like they've told me. But I mean, I kind of really lost it on them a little bit. Like, yo, last season we lost to no one but 255. We did not lose to a single alliance other than him, and we're ranked 13th. You can't tell me that these people in front of us are better than us. That's insane. We lost to the number one ranked team and no one else, not a single other alliance, and we're ranked 13th. Explain it to me. And it was the same old bullshit. Oh, well, we'll review it, blah, blah, blah. And they tried to explain it. And then eventually they said, well, you're in a different league, whatever the fuck that means. So it's disappointing and I hope they fix it. But also, I don't really care. All of you know, everybody knows 567 is amazing. 255 is amazing. 425 is not going to let you out easy, no matter what they're ranked. And 785 is not going to be an easy out either. So it is what it is. We just have to be happy with 13 and know that the whole season we didn't lose to anyone except the number one ranked alliance. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's how I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, how else can you look at it when they're protecting these bitch ass
And
young
that's
nations?
why you're gonna stop playing Polar eventually to the level that you're playing now, because you're not able to, get your goal right, because you can't even control, if you wanted to even say go at, whatever 567 for conversation's sake, you wouldn't be able to control any of those things. That's why eventually, and as you grow, you're going to move away from those other events like Polar that you love so much, and you're going to focus more on Elite War.
It is what it is. I like Elite War for what it is. There's a reason that we dropped Wasteland. Like, it's just not a priority for us anymore. I don't care at all about Wasteland. We like Elite War, but obviously we're not gonna pretend that we can fight you guys 425, 567, 621, 255, any of you guys 219.
Yeah, by
Like,
the time you get to secure, say, top 5 for conversation's sake, you'll be looking for, whatever is next, whether it be a merger or, getting some guys from the next alliance over there. Because ultimately, like, I don't think anybody can, nobody can beat 255 in Elite War,
But I do still like Polar though, because we can fight anyone. Like 567 can come to our time slot, 799 can come to our time slot, 910 is maybe already in our time slot. I still have I actually just don't really care. If you want to pretend like us at 13 is not really us at 3, then whatever. Your brain doesn't work. Not you, LG, obviously.
Hey,
But
yeah, no, I know what you're saying though. It's just funny how salty you are that you're not 3. That's what you're really saying,
no, I'm really not. No, I had to get over it. I was salty last season because I was like, how are you
Yeah,
gonna
dude,
keep
you guys
fucking
worked
matching
your
us
ass
every
off, bro.
time?
Yeah, trust me, man. And that's, I think I even shared the last time I even spoke to my VIP was, this is fucking ridiculous. How I faced 255 7 or 9 out of 10 times for Polar. It's just like, it's unreal. It really is. I think for the one time that we pushed it for a little while, the best rank we got to was 96 or 98 or something gay like that.
But people know. People already, that's why I don't feel bad about it anymore. People know I posted the latest rankings and we're 13 or whatever it was. And somebody blanked out everybody else and moved us up to 3. I didn't do that. And it wasn't someone from our nation. Like, people know that the matching is whack. So I'm happy to say.
Look at the ranks. As soon as you look at the ranks, you should know that Camel's fucking smoking meth out of a light bulb, bro. Like, you should just, as soon as you see the ranks with, it's like all of a sudden looking at the Elite War ranks and you got fucking 1410, top 10. What the fuck's going on here?
This is the this is the game we play, you know? And so there's some people that look at the ranks and they just take it for what it is, and that's fine. And then the game we play, there's also a vibrant Discord community that knows what's really going on. And they look at the ranks and they go, oh, cool. So 1 and 2 are real, and then a bunch of fluffer, and then 12 and 13 maybe are real. And that's fine too.
Yeah, they're definitely, attempting to, I don't know, cater to all, So get some of these newer nations up in the ranks of a potentially newer event, and all the above. So it just sounds like a little bit of bureaucracy, if you ask me. But either way, 100% agree. It sucks. I hate to look at the rank. I hate to try attempt to push up the ranks because I'm not willing to, change my time. I'm not willing to spend, a bag like that or put that much pressure on my team to spend the bag, especially when, I've been saying it for since the damn event came out. It's 4 minutes to the other side of the map. Like it's 4 minutes to the other side of the map. So, that's a lot of pressure. And for that reason, and the second reason is the rankings. It's just like I can't, push and spend all this money to be fucking ranked 200. Can't do that. So I'd rather focus on things like Elite War, and I'd rather not play any event and spend the entire bag on Elite War. You know, and at this level up here, it's almost what you have to do when you have free players and things like that in an alliance. It's just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. We're gonna take a page out of 255 book, and we're gonna slow walk everything, and we're gonna the guys who have the money to spend, they're gonna do their thing, and then we're all gonna do our best on Elite War Sunday. And I think that's the place where we're going. Because we've been playing the game down in 425 for some years. Sure, we've got some new recruits or so in the last handful of months, but majority of us down in 425 and playing the game for 4 or 5 years now. And so you got to keep people motivated. You got to keep people engaged. We're gonna reach out and try to touch a couple people, and we're gonna go from there. And I think that'll be fun. Win, lose, or draw. I think that'll be fun, and at least keep us engaged for the next 3 or 4 months, and see what happens after that.
I wonder if they'll lean more into whatever. I don't know if they want to call it leagues, or people have said it's just like other groupings of old, middle, young nations. I wonder if the game will lean more into that. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be crazy to separate the rankings in Polar like they do in GC from maybe old, middle, young. I don't know that they need to do that. Honestly, I think they should just run the top 100 of Polar, just go. You know what I mean? Like the best are the best. But I still wonder if they're
I would
gonna.
100%. I said this to somebody when it first came out. I said it should be a second Elite War that you get during the week. It's really what it
Absolutely.
should be, and
That's what I want.
and I
Unquestionably,
should
that's what I want.
I should be able to, there should be a pool where we could challenge or something. But the long and short of it is, yeah, there should be true rankings, and you should be able to work up them. Just like when I started the game, I saw the Elite War rankings. I was like, holy shit, we're never gonna get down there. But speed it up a few years, we're hanging out up here for a little while now. So yeah, it's all about the put in the work, and you got to put your time in, man, because the game takes what it takes. So I 100% agree that if Campbell were to just take some of the algorithm that they have from the Elite War stuff and kind of put it in Polar, I think it would be a lot more motivating. Because ultimately what you have right now is a fucking participation trophy, man. That's what you have, the fucking participation trophy. You got a bunch of fucking retards that suck fucking getting a goddamn fucking medal. Like they did some shit. Motherfucker, you ain't do nothing. And you can't beat me. So shut the fuck up. So that's what we have. It's just a bunch of participation trophy going on right now. Respectfully to China the best I can. Like, that's the difference between, this and that. So I think we got a big little shift if they were to take some of those things into Elite War, into Polar. But ultimately, we have what we have, and we can wish and pray and reach out to our VIPs all we want, Holbrook, but I don't think it really matters, brother. You
No,
know?
I think it's fun. I honestly think it's fun. I don't think anyone's sitting around going, boy, I bet you that 1300 nation is better than 785 in Polar. And if they do think that, I don't care. No, I think
Yeah,
what I think will be
100%
more
correct.
interesting. What I think will be more interesting is if they do merges on this league thing. Like if they start trying to create tiers to stuff. Because like I was saying, I think, okay, I mean, I don't understand how one Lock Nation got a merge. I've never seen only one Lock Nation get a merge. That's crazy. And so if they did the next merger window with all Lock Nations, that wouldn't really surprise me. Why wouldn't they give Ronaldo his merge, you know? And if they do 699 and below at the end of the year, that would make sense to me because you see they're already doing all this gold and they're right now literally go do your daily spend. You're gonna get a gold bonus and you're gonna get your Tifa top up. Not that you care, LG, obviously, but everybody else is double dipping on rewards. And so if they keep letting everybody double dip on rewards till the end of the year, then they can say 699 and below can merge. I wouldn't be surprised if Camel did something like that. But if they start doing this like league thing and they start merging like young nations together and then keeping them ranked high, I don't even know what that looks like. I don't know. I just don't think that I'll care. I guess I'll just be like, yeah, cool, whatever. We
I mean,
only
it's going to
lose
turn into you figuring out how squishy they are no matter how many they show up with.
if you can even fight them. And if you can't fight them, then nobody's going to care. It's not like they're going to be respected. Oh, you're in the top 5, but you're protected. That's ridiculous. Nobody's going to be proud of that.
Yeah, I think that it's just another rendition of what we've kind of dealt with before with the Chinese and the GC stuff, and all the above. I mean, even it goes back to even some void war reports, favoring the Chinese blocked nations and things. But the long and short of it, man, is who the fuck knows? I almost want the Chinese nations like Ronaldo and to get a merger, because I like rivals, within certain realms of things. So I'd like to see what he could put together and see if he can come beat me or whatever the case might be. I wouldn't mind trying to defend those style of things. Or strategize to come up with a way to beat them if they were be able to beat us for whatever reason. So I like the potential of those things from a my nation perspective, but from a game perspective, I mean, I feel like they have to. But we've been saying they have to for quite some time with the older nations, 700 and below, or whatever you want to call it, 699 and below. There's so many nations that need a merger down there, or down here, I should say. So, I hope they should get off the pot. I think it would really reinvigorate the people that are so committed to this game and sticking around in a shitty nation and not leaving. I mean, think about it, Holbrook. How long have we been doing this podcast? I know not everybody listens to it, but enough people listen to it, share it, talk about it, whatever, whatever. Like, there's so many people just still sitting around in shit ass nations, not doing anything, still spending a little bit of money, still showing up to events when they want to, whatever the case might be. So, the fact that those things are still happening, they're still super committed players. Like, I literally just saw a Facebook post like today or yesterday from somebody in like 351 saying that they need a merger so badly or something along those lines. I can confirm the same thing for say 357. The 357 definitely needs a merger. Just
LG,
for
LG, the whole time we've been doing this thing, have any of those guys gotten a merge? I don't think they
no,
have.
no, bro. I've been saying it's status quo, bro. That's what Camel does. They stay status quo. They
That's
don't
why I
get
think it's
jack.
That's why I think it's crazy what I'm saying that like maybe no one above 700 will get another merge this year. And then I start thinking like, well, I mean, no one below 700 got a merge for like the whole time we've been doing. I mean, not really, but hyperbolically, I'm joking, but no one below 500 has gotten a merge for the whole however many years we've been doing mantras.
Yeah, that whole time, I think it was the 14443 nation or something like that was like the last one to get a merge, maybe. And those guys ruined it essentially. Um, You know, so
Holbrook and
yeah.
LG, before I go, I just checked. I messaged you guys about this on July 5th of 2025. So presumably it started sometime around then. So we're not, even though it feels like years, it hasn't been years yet, but 1 year anniversary will probably be sometime this summer.
Yeah.
I got my merge. I'm just saying for those people that are in those old nations, it's probably felt like years.
Yeah,
Also,
they
Big
need to
Bird
get
has to
those.
log off, but I just want everyone to know that Big Bird's coming to 785. I decided to share my city with him, and he's fully committed. So welcome back, Big Bird.
Awesome, man. Let's go.
That's not true at all.
That's not true. But it would have been a fun story. All right.
Later, brother.
Have a good night,
Pleasure
Big
as
Bird.
always. Yeah, the merger of the old nations, man, is is a topic that, in my opinion, reverts back to business sense. I think that their number of overall nations would change so drastically if they were to merge the old nations, that might change their bottom line, for whatever reason, from a market standpoint. I don't know what they try to tell their shareholders or what, but I definitely think that's got something to do with it for some reason. Um, so just to put that in there somewhere. But yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon as much as it needs to happen. For about a year now I've been saying pretty much the same thing. Yeah, mergers are gonna happen. We're gonna get mergers, but it's gonna be, whatever, whoever's next in line. And it ain't us down here. Or you guys there in the 700s. It's whoever's, again, come down the pike next for status quo, which is probably, you know, late to late 800s up, something along those lines. 900s, low 900s, just got a bunch. So I'm sure still a bunch of stragglers.
So if you LG were never going to get another merge, what would you do? Would you just keep recruiting and let's
Yeah, I mean,
go old man strength?
I've been on the we're not getting a merge tip for a year and a half now. You know, I figured out. I feel like when 567 and 619 merged, that's kind of when I realized, like, okay, why did Bo do that? It's kind of like just thinking outside the box, whatever, whatever. And I was like, man, they haven't done any mergers. So anyhow, I feel like, I feel like that was probably the pen in the paper that I could probably remember the most is when 567 619 did their self merger thingy. Is I'm fairly confident we're not getting a merger anytime soon. Not that we need one, but I don't think that it's in the cards. I just don't. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to get a random notification saying we're merging with somebody, get some new meat on the table. But yeah. So I've been playing the game for a little while now with the understanding that we're not getting a merger anytime soon. And we've been doing all right. Some ups and downs or whatever, but I still enjoy the game. So when I no longer enjoy the game, I'll probably change it.
Easy 2.0 just posted the list of the oldest nations that don't have a merge yet. So the oldest is 896.
Got it. Yeah. So status quo.
Was
Again,
created
there's
in April 2023. Jesus, almost 3 years ago. No merge.
No
there's
merge.
no merge. That's what Camel does, man. But maybe they're going to be last, and they're going to be good for a really long time. I've always been the one that'll probably tell you that when mergers start to happen in your globe, you don't want to be first. Sure, you can be first. You'll steal a GC, maybe something along those lines, but speed up 6 months or a year when everybody else merges and puts their teams together and shit like that. You're gonna be looking real wonky. Yeah.
I think I hate to ever argue with you, and I think you're probably right, but man, 779's merge, was that a pretty one?
779. Who's that? Who's that? Who the fuck is
That,
that guy?
that was the previously oldest unmerged, and they got 830. And the reason that you don't know about 779 or 830 is because you don't need to, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, I don't have the answer to that question. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think you're right. Like, don't push a merge. I just said this to Kent the other day in 1038. Like, don't push for a merge because you never know what it's going to be. But 830 is that Anton Kim, Jason Nation.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay. I know you're talking about
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So imagine you wait however long they waited, and then you get this civil war ass nation with whales that hate each other or whatever's going on. I don't know anything about that nation. I apologize to that nation for not knowing anything about you, but I've never heard of 830 doing anything but fighting each other. So I don't feel like that 779 merge worked out great.
And 779 is Cash Nation, and Cash had moved to 904 for a long time. I don't know if he's active back in 779, but
Yeah,
That's
it
what I'm
doesn't
saying.
sound good. You
Like
know,
LG's not wrong. Like you don't want to rush in, but also I don't know the last in is working out real well either.
yeah,
I mean, we were. I just go by my experience most of the time. So for 425, we were basically the last ones to get merged in our nation, and so and we've been holding pretty steady since that particular merger, and I think that was even over 2 years ago at this point. Um, so at the end of the day, it worked out for us. Being essentially the last grouping of our globe. So it worked out for us, and we've been holding pretty strong. And the guys who got their first mergers are still around, like 373s still around, still doing their thing. Um, but I feel like everybody else like just fell off to the wayside. But I feel like again, it's also just got a lot to do with leadership. 373's led really well, really always has been. So
If they do a round of mergers just with those nations that have no merge yet, there is a chance 986 can end up with 1111.
896. You mean?
I
Yes.
I don't understand why people think these things are gonna happen.
They
Just
might.
because 908 got 910 doesn't mean fucking anything. People are crazy believing their nation is gonna get a good merge. I mean, remember when Vegas with four C41s was considered amazing and 785 got that merge? And now where's Vegas? Like, I don't know, man. People waiting on that magic merge to fix their nation.
But
Let me mute
that's not
let
what
me
I
mute myself
meant.
before I.
That's not what I meant.
I mean,
I
that's kind of
meant
how like the
that's the
357 is the same
that's
way.
the list
You know.
of the nations that have no merge yet. So there's a
Yeah, it's
higher
just
chance
a funny
that
statistic.
Camel will merge some of those together because they had no merge whatsoever until now.
First of all, why would you want to merge with someone that has no merge? If I'm 1111, I want a nation that's already merged. I don't want to merge with a no merge nation. That's crazy. I want more good cities, more power. But second of all, like, okay, was this the biggest merge group ever? I don't know. I think so. Iniox can tell us. But I only know of a merge that 1070 that I think people are excited about, and 910 that people are definitely very excited about. Amazing Nation. Congratulations to you all. 799 that people are excited about, but some retirements there. Statistically, you're fucked. I mean, if we're honest, statistically, you're fucked. If you're waiting for a merge, statistically, you're fucked. Tell me I'm wrong.
I agree.
You're not wrong. I agree too.
I agree. If you're one of those, oh, it'll be so much better once we get a merger. Why didn't we get a merger? Listen,
And,
the
and then you get
answer
a
to that
merger,
question
and
is, and you still suck.
exactly, yeah, you get a merger and you still suck.
Yeah, no good. No good, no good, no good. I'd rather be in positions like you are there in 858, where you have a good team. And it's where we were in 425. I had a great base, just didn't have the extra oomph, with participation when it came to, certain events, whether it be Elite War or GC or what. And the moment we had just a couple of more people, we've been able to withstand and have some fun ever since. So I've been super appreciative of the guys from 503, excuse me. Um, and it's been good for us. And so I hope some of the guys that are putting together these teams that are first to merge, last to merge, whatever, just put together the teams the best you can, and try not to kill all your active people, unless they're legitimate farmers that can't follow rules type shit, But this thinking you can pick mergers and stuff, or I think it's funny that people think 910 and 908 like really pulled off like a self merger. I don't think that happened. I haven't seen it happen in quite some time anyway, but I guess it's possible because I did see it happen in the Superman guy's day. What was his name again?
Safe already said, I mean, Safe reached out to me a long time ago, months ago, and he said he was implementing everything that we had previously spoken about. You're friends with him. He'll be happy to tell you that they implemented what we spoke about on mantras. 908 did not. So I'm not pretending that there is a recipe and you can follow it and you're going to get hooked up. But I'm just saying this wasn't two spender nations that just picked each other and life went on. This is definitely one nation that said, we want to challenge for the best and we're going to do what we can do to put ourselves in a good position. And then, whatever, Bryce gave enough hand jobs. I'm joking because he always says he gives hand jobs. But Bryce gave enough hand jobs to get himself on the other side of that merge or whatever. I mean, obviously, I don't know what magic he did. But if you ask Safe, he'll tell you that 910 did what they had to do to put themselves in that position. And I believe that to be true.
Yeah, I definitely did reach out, and him and I chatted up for a little while after the announcement. So, yeah, he 100% did probably everything plus some that we discussed on the pod, and and they got themselves another merge, man. So I can't hate on the game, but I do find it difficult to believe that the hand job was given and it was handpicked, and all those fun things. They could suggest things all they want. It doesn't mean anybody really looked at it or paid attention to it, or whatever. So yeah, I just find those things difficult to believe, because why him and not me? Does he
Yeah,
spend more money than me? I find that difficult to believe, but hey, who knows?
who the
Yeah.
fuck knows? And that's the thing. Like, that's why you have to take it into your own hands, right? That's why
Yeah, you control your
567
own
did an
actions
amazing
and
thing.
attitude. Exactly. Well, as soon as they did that, I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. And then I just kind of realized, over the course of action that, all right, it doesn't look like anything's happening, and I reached out to some people down in some super old nations down in the, 50s and things like that. And they pretty much said, VIP tells us nothing about a merger and doesn't seem like they care much about us anymore type shit. It's like pretty much what every old nation will tell you, you know. So yeah, as soon as I figured out that 567 619 merger thing, I pretty much was under the assumption that mergers for our numbered nations weren't going to happen anytime soon. I do think it'll happen, but I think Camel needs more nations, because I think the business aspect of it comes into play. Maybe if you look in their whatever fucking stock trading bullshit, they say that they have a minimum of 400 nations or 350 nations or some dumb shit like that. There might be a KPI out there that says they need a minimum. And if they do a merger, they fall under that or something along those lines. I feel like something stupid like that plays a part for some reason.
Ineox has some good data though. We just had this discussion the other day. The number of nations currently post merges is not low historically. There's still a lot of them. So Cowboy's here if he actually wants to speak. He got his third merge. So I feel like he could add something to the conversation. But either way, I think if you look at Iniox's data, I don't think that I don't want to misspeak, and I'm definitely drinking rum, but I don't think we're at a low. I don't think we're even close to a low. I think the chart he showed the other day, I think shows there's still hundreds of nations.
Yeah, but I think from a whatever an overall, I feel like it's down where it could be down if they were to merge like a grouping down here. Because if you look at like, I don't know, the first GC bracket. The first GC bracket is Nation 1 to Nation 320.
Bro, you guys don't have that many.
Right?
There's not a lot of nations down there. So like merging those guys doesn't change a lot.
They need to merge up.
Yeah,
it's a weird situation, right? Like imagine you're in 373. I don't know them. I don't have love or hate for them. Faith Plus One seems like a super cool dude. I have a little bit of love for him, but I know nothing about those nations. But imagine 373 merging with 858. Don't you think not only can 373's top alliance dictate terms to 858, but also imagine Light and everybody else from 858's top 20, they probably stay in the top alliance. But the bottom 80 from the top alliance all of a sudden gets relegated, not even to the second alliance, but to the third alliance. So those merges are super tricky, but the more I guess they do this like free gold, free Tifa top up thing, the more it's possibly realistic. Like, I don't think it's an easy problem to solve, but I do think they're trying to do it, which is why all this free stuff is coming. It's just,
why would free stuff be coming if they were going to merge fucking 52 and 269?
Because they're trying to level the playing field. They're trying to play catch up with these old nations that are, their zombies are maxed and you get these new nations like Holbrook just
What do you mean?
mentioned.
They just gave me a skin that gave me 4,000 extra zombies without a buff.
But Holbrook's talking about the free to play or low to spend.
I know. I'm just talking shit.
no, League God is not wrong, bro. My zombies just went up again, and I love it. Yeah, I don't know, man.
4,000 zombie fleet without the fucking spaceship buff. You know what it might be? They might be removing Iron Blood because nobody's playing it anymore, and that's why they gave us the zombie buff.
Have you noticed some events haven't come around again? Royal Arena hasn't been around for a minute.
Yeah, because everyone played it free, bro. Everyone was listening to us free playing that bitch. They're like, no, there ain't no money in this. Get it out of here. Try this Nation Duel.
it just dropped today. Royal Arena just dropped today.
Oh, it did? The fuck out of here.
It's back again, yeah. But hey, it's a great free to play event. You can get merit and stuff from that for spending nothing.
Yeah, I get 2,000 merit for free.
Yeah, just set your fleet and walk away.
Light, I believe that's Nation Duel that started today, not Royal Arena.
I could swear I saw Royal Arena. I'm looking right now. Hold on.
And they have a very similar icon, but Nation Duel started today for sure.
You're right. My apologies. It is Nation Duel, not Royal Arena.
Yeah, so that's what they did is they took Nation Duel and replaced it with Nation Duel because everyone was free playing it. So, there is Camel's not dumb when it comes to what people are spending money on. That's why they give us all these new events. That's why they beta test them all over the place, is to see what the spend's going to be like. And if the spend's not good, they're dropping the event. You can almost bet your ass.
You can free play this one as well. The difference is this one, in order for you to get things, it requires the whole nation participation. Like the more people participate, the more chances you have to actually win. And it's the
Agreed.
event where you get the 3,000 free merit if you just free play it all the time.
Yeah, so even in Nation Duel, there's free daily, like daily rewards. I'm looking at it right now. Like it's not a whole lot, but it's 170 merit
Hmm.
just for setting a fleet and participating.
Yes, that's the event that gives you the most merit, is not
Yep.
Royal Arena. This is the one that
Right.
came after, and it gives you,
Right.
uh, I
Actually
think
gives you more
it's
merit than that.
it's 400 and something. If you free play it, it's 400 and something merit per day, but it
Yep.
goes for like 5 or 6 days. So at the end, it's close to 3,000 merit just for one event that you can free play as well.
Yeah, they're definitely giving a lot of extra free shit. I'd almost like to think that all that extra free shit, all the extra gold purchasing available and things like that, you know, level the playing field. Sure, I think it's level the playing field for a short period of time, and then they're going to drop something else, whether that's C44 or something like that. But usually when they lead up to something like this, it's just another big release.
I don't know if you noticed, but in the first release of this Nation Duel thing, there were not the badges thing in the rewards, and now there are. So,
Badges. Looking at the rewards now.
yeah,
Which badges do you talk about?
the
Profile
badge,
badges. I
the
was
badge
just looking at
chest.
that. I think LG is onto something. I think the same thing he's thinking for a big release.
Yeah,
It's just how they do it. I forget what they gave us last time. It was plane equipment. I feel like we thought it was going to be C44, and they gave us plane equipment or
mm-hmm.
officer
Yeah.
equipment. It was one of the
Yes,
two. You know, and
plane.
so it's just another big release, more than likely, my
I think
opinion.
it's both. I think C44 is obviously coming. I mean, we've been talking about it for a long time, but at the same time, this Dawn Trials is obviously not for LG or Cowboy or me.
Yeah, that's such a waste. I don't even understand what that is. It's like you're just
The
trying to get me to click something again. If you want to give me
No,
something
it's
for free, just fucking send it to my mailbox.
no, it's free. It's free. It's Titan Stones, man. That's good for a lot of people who are still active every day.
I
But the
mean,
the Titan Stones, they're not going to be able to get that far, Holbrook, to get the Titan Stones. I hope you get that.
If you see,
You're getting Titan Stones because you're clearing the map.
no,
Your
no, you
C37 isn't going to get Titan Stones more than likely. Oh, you're talking about the
Look,
ones that just in the. Okay, I know what
no,
you're talking about.
you
the
might
the
you
the
might want to
exchange
try a couple times. There's a bug where you lose, but you can still win if you try again.
Really? Oh God.
I'm not even kidding at all.
Anyways, yeah, it's more dumb shit. But yeah, none of those things are helping us. So, but also none of those things are quote leveling the playing field. You know.
No, but they are. They are. There's everybody who's playing that event that's not. I mean, whatever. People are getting free Titan Stones for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. But is that leveling the playing field, Holbrook?
For active players, I think it goes back to participation. If you show up and you play every day, if you don't do your dailies, then you don't get your stuff. And this is a new, I don't think it's a daily, I think it's a weekly. And if you don't do your weekly, then you don't get your free stuff. But participation wins. I think the game is now more participation. I don't know what else to say. It's not just spending. It's more, and I think you've adapted to that too, LG. So I don't think you would argue with me, man.
I mean, when it comes to spending, 100%. I mean, shit, I've spent a lot less this year. Just whatever. I've been busy at work, but different conversation. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, these little things that we're spending money on to us, as whales call it, right? Like is significantly different than the guy that's getting these, the Titan stones. The Titan stones over time are definitely going to help, but I don't know. I don't think that's leveling the playing field though, brother. I just don't. Because the moment the next release comes out, you just look at the antiques. Look at the antiques. Day one, what'd you spend?
No, it's
$1,000?
no,
Call
no,
it for
no. But it's
conversation's
not.
sake, but your stats went up 30
It's not about.
million.
It's not about me and you. Of course, we're doing what we're doing. I'm talking about the people that are so excited about Chaos Land. Those are the same people that are now getting free stones, and I think that's
And
good
so
for them.
long as they're a part of my team, then fuck yeah, awesome. I just don't think it's leveling the playing field to, in a general way for any nation is it quote leveling the playing field because everybody got it. So long as you're logging in and touching the screen a couple of times, you're getting it. And that's another
That's
camel
why.
trick. They need the clicks. That's why you're getting all
That's
these things to touch things so many different times a day, to
bro.
go to the next
That's why
level and things.
LG. That's exactly why I'm saying participation is more than it ever was before. So imagine you log in today, you get this trials thing, whatever you're getting for free today. You're also getting a Tifa top up if you're spending. You're also getting more gold if you're buying dailies. So you're triple dipping on your daily buy plus this new event where you're getting free stones. Is it a lot of stones? No, it's like 4 stones or whatever. Then it's also a I mean, so everybody should be doing the gold A equipment if they don't already have max gold A equipment. The old nation, I'm sure they have max increase and decrease, the middle equipment, old school, high value stuff. But not everybody in these 700, 800, 900 nations have max increase and decrease. And so they're getting that. And then even if you get through the stones and the A blueprints, then you can also get more extension components. Is it fucking amazing? No, of course not. But if you're sitting in 157, I think that's a reasonable nation. I bet they have max increase and decrease damage for their equipment. But I promise you that everyone in 785 does not have max that. And if they get that for free, like, I don't know, it's balancing something.
Yeah,
I don't
for
know.
time frame things, we're definitely ahead of you guys just, from a year basis, and especially if you're using like a 157 nation. Like those guys have been, around for quite some time. So yeah, I'm sure they have all orange equipment and their extensions are, level 6 and they're all orange, just probably organically, whether they spent money on it or not, just based off of time at this juncture, they probably have these things. So I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying more in a general way. I don't think your extension opponents up there in 785 are gonna, push you over the edge to beat who you can't beat, um, because they're doing the same thing and have access to it. Now, I do question why they give us the free gold. I do question that, because that's something that they don't typically do, especially
It's
at
a
a
lot
high
of gold,
level.
bro.
It
Isn't it?
is. It's a lot
It's
of
like
gold.
10. It's like 10 G's
12.
for that
It's
last
like 12.
level.
It's like,
And that
yeah,
last level is not that hard.
I agree. Especially because they give you like 3 or 4 days or whatever to clear it, so you don't even have to. So yeah, I question those things. Like I question that more than the free fucking Titan cubes, because I still have guys that are what's that event that we do where you can buy some shit for your alliance to get the fucking juice that you need for the thing. I don't know the fucking names of these things, but you know what I'm talking about. Um,
You talking about the
so
group buying event or the alliance or
no,
the
no,
treasure
it's the fucking where
bounty?
you throw the rockets at the fucking alien, but you can also
Oh
buy
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
package
yeah,
and
yeah,
like you
yeah.
send the cubes or you send the green shit directly to your alliance, or there's even one for
Yeah,
the nation. You know what
yeah,
I'm talking about?
Yeah, the armament one where you have
Yeah,
to.
whatever the fuck
You have
that
to.
stupid
You have
thing
to.
is.
That's
You
the
Like,
have
dog
to.
event.
No,
is
no,
that? Yeah,
no.
that is the dog event. You're right. You're right. That's a dog event. The guitar
Yeah,
thing.
the dog event is where yeah you can just send stones or whatever to your whole
So I
nation.
send the stones because whatever I get extra juice for the thing that I need. I don't even know what it is, but it's in there somewhere. Um, and so there's still people in 425 who need the cubes, right? To make my point, or to get to a point anyway. So there's still people in 425, like my guy Johnny Coyle, my R4 who does my Elite War stuff. Like, I remember just last week when we had that stupid event, dropping some cubes, and he's like, "Oh man, I needed that, got me to the next level." Blah blah blah. So I understand that thing. But I also know that 255 and 567 and 621, and they all got that same shit. So I don't think it's leveling any playing field. It does, to your point, Holbrook, so long as they're logging in every day, because it is a round robin. You can't just log in, hit them all, and log out. You get one, and then tomorrow or the next day you get another one, type shit. So it is going to give you something, but everybody's going to get it. And I think all the people that you're going to be worried about, I don't think it's leveling any playing fields in that regard, because they're doing the same things you're doing. I do think that there's something we talked about for, again, why they're giving us gold. Is there going to be a new event where you can use more gold, or like what's the deal? Because if you're buying speeds and stuff like that, or hoarding speeds, whatever the case is, like, what are you using the gold on? And so I don't know. I question those
LG.
things because Camel's been not giving us gold forever, so it's weird to me.
LG, you're not wrong, but this also takes us back to when we were talking about optimizing for Elite War. So, that event came around and you gave some stones. But in 785, we organized giving stones from multiple accounts so that everyone could collect it together. So it's not the same. I bet you in random ass nation below 200, I don't want to call any names, they're not organizing 10 people giving those stones, because we did the math on the stones and it's not bad if you collect them correctly. And so we shared it up. It's the same way. It's like, 567 is doing a collective winning strategy. We're trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You're right. Like the average nation, maybe they're not benefiting from this, but if you're optimizing, then you're good. And if you're in a nation that's not optimizing, then maybe you have some thinking to do. I don't know.
Yeah, that's for sure. I would like to have Camel just be like, listen, guys, if you're like nation 700 and below, like y'all are beat. Okay, you're beat. Or like, yeah, we're gonna merge you, but like give us like a year or two or whatever the case is. I would just like some sort of, I just hate being left out to dry. And not even me personally, but the game in general. Like the community doesn't know. And the fact that we got mergers and things like that at a pretty steady level in the beginning, and you speed it up, 4 or 5 years, they just change the rules on you kind of whenever they want to. I guess that's like the part that pisses you off the most. It's like, man, in the
Bro,
beginning, we got mergers like every 6 months, like our specific nation, like how many, nation 52, 255, all these, they get all these mergers, man,
bro,
and
this
then
game is
now they just
not
don't.
this game is not fair. And if we're honest, 255 is under the greatest assault, because that's the greatest. I mean, him specifically is the greatest alliance in the game. They're under the greatest assault because the rest of us are getting everything cheaper than them. Like, if we're just being honest, like they're obviously the greatest right now, but they're also under the greatest assault because we're getting everything cheap.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I also think they don't give a fuck because they got 55 C41s or C40s, and
Hey,
they keep trucking along,
it's fun to take a shot at the king. We're all gonna take our shot at the king. You know what I mean? Like they're on top. That means they have a target. Like that's how it is. None of us can handle them on our own, that's for sure. But I'm
No, it's
super excited.
impossible.
I'm super excited to see what 567, 425, 621 can do, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think any one of us can give them a real run for their money in Elite War. I think that's just I guess it's
Yeah, but they
possible to catch them slipping, similar to what you guys did with PHX today. Not to say that you guys wouldn't have beat PHX anyway, but they would have given you a real run for your money. The way 621, excuse me, the way 567 lost to 255 a couple weeks ago. I don't think that's a clear, picture of exactly how these two nations could go at it if they wanted to. I think 567 got caught slipping a little bit, so it made it a little bit easier for them. But I don't think it necessarily would have changed the outcome unless 567 would have done the same to them, catch them slipping. So I feel like, just in a general way, there's nobody pound for pound, stat wise, otherwise, that can beat them in a one-on-one battle. In a proper setting like Elite War. I think Polar is a little bit different because you have items and things like that that come into play. But a head-to-head battle with Elite War strategy preparation. I don't think anybody's beating 255 right now. Forget
they're
about based on their tactics or their leadership, just their blunt power and motivation that they have currently. Nobody's beaten them. I'd like to see 255 go take their spot number one in Elite War and go at 621. I would like to see that. For my own scouting purposes, if I'm shooting everybody straight, but I would like to see that. I think the community would like to see that as well. I reached out to or Big Bird reached out and I spoke to some of the guys over at 621. So if we are successful in the 621 Elite War next week, and I think that we're going to set up something with 621 shortly thereafter. But, I'm a strategist and a tactics, so I'd almost like 621 to fight 255 before, I set him up. But whatever, I don't really care all that much. Focus is in for the current purpose. But I don't think anybody can beat 255, man. I
Did
just don't
everyone
think.
go quiet or did my signal drop?
Pound for pound, they're just so strong, and they're very motivated. They have 100 members. It's not fake, and every one of those members are spending money and all the above. Just in the last 3 months, they went from 25 C41s to fucking 55 C41s. So, or C40s, excuse me, but still T13, I should say. So I don't think everybody's beating them. And with the utmost respect to 567, what we saw in that Elite War was again not a clear head-to-head type battle, but it was a this is what they can do, and they were successful in catching them slipping in that regard with the proper preparation and an executed plan. Like we heard last week, I don't think 567 was even able to execute even a portion of their plan based off of talking to just a couple of their guys and what I saw live real time. So 567 in my mind is one of the strongest nations in the game. 621 pound for pound, super strong, right up there with like 219 and us, and I don't think they can do much against 255, especially with their growth in the last few months. I don't know what happened over there, but those guys got on steroids like the last 90 days.
Hey, Lee, God, 1 second. Sorry, we're having a audio problem.
Apparently,
Right.
some people have. I've been able to hear you the whole time.
Same. But Holbrook
So-
can't hear us, and people in the audience can't hear us.
Okay. Holbrook, can you hear
Ritachi
me
says
now?
Ritachi says sounds back. Holbrook, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you guys now.
Weird, but yeah, just to
Weird.
get the point out there, I don't know anybody who can beat 255 in a normal one-on-one setting. I don't think it's possible. I was having a conversation with Baby a week or so ago.
I still haven't heard LG at all.
Oh, you can't hear him right now?
All right, I'll log off. You guys have a wonderful night.
You can't hear.
Yeah, he
Later,
can't
brother.
hear.
I don't know. He couldn't hear you.
He's probably 3 sheets to the wind, and you know what I'm saying.
He's put himself on mute or something.
Yeah, he made himself deaf. You know what I'm saying? It's fine.
It's all good.
He thinks the phone's on speaker, but it's not. You know.
The ROM is working.
I'm just messing with him. Holbrook's my boy. But yeah, I don't think anybody can beat 255, man. I think it would be fun to, you know, take and give a go at the target on their back, you know. But I don't think anybody can beat them in a one-on-one matchup. I don't think it's possible currently. But it would be fun to, you know, whatever, go at them in polar with like 567 and 785, or maybe 910 if they're joining, down in our bracket. It's like, listen, 425. We start out there. We don't necessarily care like the rankings and all that fun shit because we know we're getting fucked in it anyway because we see 255 every week. So if y'all want to come together and try to make 255 our bitch for a day, like I'm down.
Didn't we have that last season? Multiple
Not to my
times?
knowledge.
785 and 255? In the same
Yeah.
polar? Yes, we did. Multiple times.
Yeah, but we didn't ever both won at 255 the entire time. And I'm adding 910 and 567 in there because we need support. Like we're not enough.
That would
And that was also prior to our merger, Hawkage, but still, even after our merger, it's just more healing for us, if going up against them without somebody else. And it wouldn't be about winning, it would just be about try to put that old what's that old line from Dirty Dancing? No one puts baby in the corner. Well, I want to for an hour. Just for an hour. I want to stick her ass in the corner. And if anybody wants to help me, I just want to stick her in the fucking corner for an hour. And Patrick Swayze can come over here and try to fight me all he wants. But yeah. I don't know. I just think it would be fun. That's all.
Going a little bit back to Light Show original topic, like we were discussing what 425 and other nations were doing to increase participation. The thing that LG just mentioned, I think, is the most important thing. You can do giveaways, being blue coins or resources, whatever people need. That's one thing. My advice, try and do what 425 did for me, which was make these events fun again. Even if you lose, doesn't matter. As long as people are having fun, people are more willing to join and participate, so your participation will go up. Like I was in
Yeah, you gotta be fun, man. You
I
gotta be
was in
fun.
other nations where like playing polar was like, no, boring. I joined 425 and all of a sudden polar is fun.
Yeah, and you use all your speed for no reason, right?
Well,
But you got to make
I
it fun,
learned to
man. From a
play.
leadership perspective, and even Bo just said this to me when I was talking about the Japanese stuff earlier about the mergers. When Bo and I were talking a couple weeks ago, it's like, man, you gotta make it fun. You gotta make it fun. You got to keep people engaged, and nobody is engaged beating Ronaldo every week, right? Like that was fun for like a few weeks, yeah, but it's not fun 8 weeks later. That's not fun. So you got to figure out a way to continue to keep the team engaged, and even for me personally, we've been hanging out at Elite War rank number 4 now for well, the last 6 months, I would say, somewhere along those lines. You know, you can only sit there for that long. So I'd like to at least try to give these guys a go. And if we lose against Sin, okay, we lose, but we're coming back for more. Coming back for more. I'm gonna try and dodge 255 just because I don't think we can beat 255. And I'm just saying that because it's true. I think anybody that's 255 challenges right now will take an L. It is possible if you can get them to go 45 minutes or something like that. Don't get me twisted. Not to take anything from the number one champs, 621. Like I want to see it. I want to see it. So I know that the leadership team was able to reach out to me super fast and potentially set up an elite war. So I'm kind of wondering what the deal is. Why 621 and 255 haven't gone at it? Maybe it's because they had something set up a 567 and then GC and all those things. So I don't know. I'd love to see 255 and 621 go at it before I try and challenge them if we beat 219. But whatever. It's just more community stuff. But yeah, you got to keep people engaged. So I think this merger is going to keep people engaged. I think some reaching out and touching some people are going to keep people engaged. I think, losing 3 or 4 voids in a row and trying to win this one, that we're currently in is going to keep people engaged. I think all those nice fun, switching up the way we do in leadership, and the way we're speaking to, our alliances and stuff like that. So we're doing a couple things different, just to, switch it up. Because if you do the same thing week in, week out, day in, day out, you get bored of that shit. And then you don't show up one week. And then the week later, you don't show up. And then you get kicked and burned or some shit. Who knows? But, at the end of the day, you got to keep people engaged and want to log into the game and, all those things. So I think that reaching up in Elite Wars is good for anybody, in the game. I don't think that it's fun if you're ranked 80 to try and challenge rank 120. I think that that's kind of wonky. So yeah, I think that strategically speaking, everybody in the game can kind of look at the ranks and pick a couple of people that they know they can beat that are above them, and they should make a plan and try to go do it. Not to say that I feel that way about Sin. I have the utmost respect about Sin, but I've said it before. I'm gonna try and rise the ranks the proper way, and that's by reaching out to people and setting it up, especially up here in the tops. I have a respect thing. Um, Baby tried to set up an elite war with me. A month or so ago. I kind of just laughed it off. I'm like, listen, my response was pretty simple. You guys will like this. I said, if you guys need another 5 minutes with him video, like, no problem. Like, we got you. We'll show up for a couple of minutes for you. Um, so, and that wasn't me saying no. It's like, listen, if you want to challenge, go ahead. Like, you got your win. Like, I know we can't beat you, and I'm not going to put the pressure on my team to spend a bag on you. So we're gonna just do that. So yeah, we're gonna go at 10 first, and then try the other guys. But yeah, I think keeping the team engaged by you know trying something a little bit different, doing things a little bit different, and trying to increase your ranks in something of a priority, whatever your nation figures to be a priority, or your alliance for that matter. I think those go a long way. And when you're starting to be stagnant and you're starting to see people not log in or whatever the case is, you can just sit back and watch it, or you can be a leader and go out there and make some shit happen, and keep people engaged, and completely reinvigorated. you know and not to toot my own horn, but I did all that shit by working my ass off 15 hours a week. So
Like, if
everyone.
if you have a lot of Asians in your nation, my advice is you can give them advice, but don't try to tell them literally what to do. Like
Yeah, it doesn't go well.
you can tell them like, okay, we're focusing on this event, save your bags for this event, but if they speed in one event, don't go and say, well, don't do that. Just let them be. they can manage their own bag.
Yeah, I feel like especially the guys, just using our alliance as an example, Hawkins, like the guys that we brought over, I would say if we brought over 30 of them, probably 25 of them spend, money on the game. There's definitely a few in there that really don't and are just hyperactive individuals. I know them pretty well. A couple of them are original 425 members. But I feel like, kind of like we were talking about earlier, the Japanese people are just a little bit different. They need to be handled a little bit differently.
It's
And you
not.
can do one of two things. You can, work with them or you can work against them because, like you just said, if you try and tell them what to do, they have no problem telling you no. And they do it respectfully. And, but they will hold that no, you know? And if you do anything along the way that crosses the line, right? Like you say something, or disrespect in some way, shape, or form. Man, they remember. They got memories like elephants.
Yes,
They remember everything.
they hold grudges forever.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
But yeah, there's ways.
and that's probably the main reason why I never really attacked them or anything like that. Just because I, feel like I have a pretty decent grip on at least the people in 425 that I'm dealing with. But again, for the most part, they're great, man. I've just up until recently did I start to have problems with them because of these big defensive traps. And I think that's just a lack of knowledge of where the game is going, you know, and how much power difference is available in whales and things like that these days. Because typically 60 versus 20 should be pretty good, you know, but not against a specific 20, you know. So here nor there. I think with our leadership and things like that over in the MOF, I'm not used to saying that just yet. So work with me on that, guys. But yeah, I think with some time and some effort, I think it's gonna be real good. The nature of the course of the next 3 to 5 months is, we need to make these guys feel like they're at home so they stay. So on the fifth month, they say, okay, yeah, we did your test. Yeah, we don't like it here. We're gone. And then they all just leave Alliance like one after another, you know? So that's my current fear, is we don't build something enough that they want to stay, So that's where it's at. But we're going to take advantage of it for the next, whatever, 3 to 5 months, whatever it is, or forever for that matter. But currently, we're going to take advantage of it and do some pushing. And if they happen to decline the forever merger, then whatever, man. We're just going to get our asses beat in Elite War by a couple of teams. That's
If we
all.
if we continue the way things have been in this first few days, everybody is respectful and stuff like that. I don't
Yeah,
think
I'm
we
anxious to see
will
what
have
happens
a.
in the heat of war when I'm not online.
I don't
So the
think
things
we
that we're
will
gonna have
have a
from
problem.
being completely transparent, we need to be aware of what's going on during the 8 hours or so that I'm sleeping during Void War. Because what happens is the people that are not Japanese that are also online during that time, those people like to drink. And well, to say the least, they can sometimes say things that piss off others. So long and short of it is I'm kind of anxious to see what happens during this void war and how everybody works together in the heat of the battle. What happens when a mistake is made and how do people react to it? You know, are you going to
Yeah.
get the stupid fucking farmer, right? Like, is one of our guys going to call one of their guys a stupid farmer? That's what because if that happens, it's a wrap.
Uh, yeah.
More will be revealed.
I can see that happening.
I can see
If
that happening too.
if
So
things go that way, but there's also ways to say to people like, okay, just be extra careful, especially now. Like,
just put your
don't
fucking
say
shield on.
anything that can be misinterpreted or taken the wrong way.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, more will be revealed. Uh, we'll keep you guys updated as the weeks go on. But 425, man, it's really all positive right now. We got a lot of good things going on, and I don't even think we have any cities available, so I can't even like throw out a recruiting post because it would fall on deaf ears because we don't have anything available currently in 425. It's a good place, So yeah, we built something nice over there, and I'd like to think that we can build these guys a nice cozy home over in MOF and really do some nice things. Do I think we can whatever go to number one elite war or anything like that? No, I don't. I don't, unfortunately. But I think we can crack some fucking heads. I think there's not a city in this game that can't be fucking burned, by us. So, I think that all those things are can be really fun. Um, so uh, I'm excited to see what happens in all the little events that we prioritize. Not so much Polar and Wasteland right now because of the Elite War, projections that we're doing, but just the fact that we can show up nonchalantly to these, semi-priority events with 85 plus is, a good feeling. I'm uh, I'm excited to see how we can do over the course of the next couple of months. Very similar to I'm excited to see some of these nations like 910 and 711 kind of do their thing. After some fresh mergers. You know, GC will be coming here in the next couple of 6 weeks or so. All over again. So it'll be fun to see that little bit of drama going on. But right now for the Elite War ranks, we got guys like Holbrook and 910 and all these guys just flying up the ranks. And 425's just been hanging out at number 4, just hanging around, just fucking hanging around. So we're gonna try and get off of our ass and go hit the gym for a little bit, and we'll see if we can get in some trouble.
Yeah. Just don't get upset with me if you see me speed on non-priority events. I blame
Yeah, I
Woody
don't care.
because I speed in everywhere because I learned to play with him. So
I'm down with that. I just don't want to hear the I'm out of speed and gold in the middle of
I
Elite War. That's
I
all.
never said that,
I know, I know.
and
That's
I
why I
will
don't break
never
your
will.
nuts. There's gonna be one of these events, man, where it's gonna drain your bag. You're gonna be like, "What the fuck,"
I'm
and
I'm
it's so
preparing for it.
gut wrenching. You know, even for myself, it's like, yeah, I got a lot of gold and all that, but like when the adrenaline dies down and I really go look at the bag and what I just spent on that particular event, it's just like, whoa, whoa. And if I spent that, that means that, and I have no problem doing that, because I'm a pretty successful guy, blah, blah, blah. But then I look around at the team and it's like, whoa, like the team probably just fucking blew their load. So I feel bad in those regards. Those are the things that I try and not carry you guys, but like, try to do my best as a leader to, lessen the burden. That was also another big pitch on getting a lot of the Japanese from Mott to join us. It's just like, listen, guys, like you guys are 30 deep. Like the burden's all on you guys in every event that you're in, and the rest of these fuckers don't even show up. Like it's gotta suck. So, now that we're all together, I mean, the burden's so much less. I mean, look at just the 2 events that we did this week. How cheap they were. Both Wasteland and Polar were significantly cheaper than they've ever been for me. For me, forget about you guys. For me, it was so much cheaper. So I know for you guys, it was so much, probably 10 times cheaper than it was for me, or more for that matter. So it's a big relief of consumables being just fucking obliterated. Every event when there's 10 guys or 15 guys pressing the speed button, or whatever the case is. Now that burden is shared upon 85 plus. I think it's a big win for everybody that's around that. And when it does come time to blow a bag, we'll be semi prepared just because we've been able to utilize all these or save these consumables that we normally would have used in other events. And, that's just a page out of 255's book. They've been doing slow walk for merit for years. We've been talking about slow walk for merit, in 255 for a really long time.
Yeah,
So
we've been
yeah,
talking about it, and even with Bayou, he's been joining the podcasts as well. And one thing I've noticed is like they do exactly what I said before. Like they advise their players to save their bags, but each person knows how far they can go, if they're a spender, if they're not.
correct.
So they manage their own bags. If they are in a non-priority event, they need to save. Well, they slow walk. Otherwise, they will speed. From my side, I never saw 255 not speed. At least against
Correct.
us, they always speed all the time, everywhere. So,
Well, they're top 20 or 25 for sure. Like those guys are moving with some motivation, you know?
which is a good thing, but yeah, I don't know how they save like that, but well, if they say they do, they do.
Hey,
But
at the end
it
of the
makes
day,
it
they're
fun.
they're 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 doing their thing, and I personally would prefer to press the speed button than slow walk, just because I have ADHD, ADD, every probably acronym you could probably think of, and I want my satisfaction right now. I don't want to wait for it. So that's just me personally, but yeah, I agree with the bag management, knowing what you can and can't do, and
I
following direction.
I
I think that
developed.
you're going to see here in the very near future that, shortly before events, we're going to get some messages out to, give people, some direction on, what this particular event means to us. So,
You know,
you know,
some people that play this game develop quite a strange disease, which is visual Parkinson. So every time you see the speed button, your hand starts trembling and starts clicking all the time until you get to your destination. So
I have to
I
count.
have that.
I have to count the clicks with my thumb in Elite War in between towers, or I'll press it too many times. I'll press 7 speeds when I only need to press fucking 6 or 5, 4 or 5. You know, and so I have to count them. Or I'm just literally lighting them on fire for no reason because I have no brakes. So I have to count and then wait, and there's 1 second in between. So if I want to get there right now, I hit 5. If I have a second in between, I hit 4. And so I have to count them in my head. If not, I'll just literally just press as fast as my phone will
Yeah,
accept it.
I'll do the same. So, well,
So I get it, but I do want to make
minus the
sure that
taunting
everybody
part.
understands that you know bag management is a thing, and everybody should be managing their own thing, but don't get mad if your leadership is attempting to manage your bag a little bit for you, or at least give you direction, I should say. It's probably for a reason. Not everything is discussed among the alliance. Leadership is usually talking in the background somewhere, coming up with a plan or preparation for something. At least that's what we do in 425. So, if we're putting things out there in the alliance chat, or especially in a group message for the entire team, please take heed, because I'd like to think something big is brewing, and it's the things that we're saying just aren't falling on deaf ears,
But you
because
did it.
at a
You
high
did
level.
it the right way. I mean, so even before we knew, and I speak for myself, even before we knew what the event was, we already knew that we had to save bag because something big was coming. We didn't know exactly what, but we got a warning before, so we start preparing. That's it.
Yeah, hopefully it works out well. We're you know, and it sucks because I can't challenge and I can't see Sin just yet for the date. Again, probably until reset tomorrow night or yeah, tomorrow night, more than likely. So it'd be a lot easier once you can see it. Once you can see it, touch it, things like that. I think it'll make it real for everybody. So, but yeah, it'll be nice when if the plan comes to fruition. I got a bunch of respect for 219. I have for many years at this juncture, but at this point, I want to fucking, I want to burn that base, bro. Straight up, I want to burn that base.
Sure. Let's do it.
So,
And
with that
with
being
that,
said, it's about midnight where I'm at. I got a big day tomorrow. It's fucking Monday. Meetings all day, and I got to take my daughter to school at 7. So, I'm gonna go ahead and kill it myself. Hope you guys have a great rest of the night, and more will be revealed in the coming weeks, I'm sure. So, but you guys keep an eye out for some of the movements that are happening with these mergers and the Elite War ranks for some of these things coming because the mergers just happened. The 7-day waiting period is now likely over, I believe. So I think you're going to start to see some movement here with some rivalries, with some wanting to move up the ranks and things like that. I think you're going to start seeing that here in the coming weeks, like a lot. It should be motivating for everybody that is starting to come together. So I'm anxious to see that as a community player, to see what you guys are doing out there, and then yeah, we should have some dates and times for 425 Sin Elite War for this coming Sunday. To my knowledge, it's not going to be done like live or anything like that. I personally don't have time for that. Um, or the bandwidth. But I'm sure there'll be some videos or things of that nature when it's all said and done. But for right now, we're gonna focus on that.
live, personally, I don't think it will be possible. For me, at least. Because it's normally during the week. Um, and yeah, for the time, for me it's a little bit difficult to do it live, but I can record it. Actually, we talked about it with Woody. I can record it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have it recorded so it's not have to be done with like the replay. No one likes seeing the replay because you can't see the battle bar. And the fights happening real time. So I'm fairly certain at least somebody's going to be recording it. It's probably you. Now that I'm talking about it out loud or thinking about it rather. But yeah, we're definitely going to record it because the community wants to see it. I just don't have the bandwidth to do it live or talk during it. I'll probably have a fucking heart attack during the middle of it. So yeah, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Everyone's making fun of me for the Mayday thing for the 567-621. There's a sound. There's going to be a sound bite out there, I'm sure soon. So yeah, fun stuff. But good pod, y'all. I'm gonna head out though. Y'all have a killer evening, man. Peace.
Good night.
Thank you.
Later, brother.
Later.
Lecho, anything
Yep.
else you wanna
No, I'm good. I
add?
got to get up early too.
All right, so let's close this thing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Was a nice podcast again.
Yep.